In addition to specializing in,
And in the black box, he had found that he didn't see a SIM card there before. So now that he did, he wants to hurry up and add all that stuff in. Yeah.
data in computers and cars, you also mentioned that you specialize in mobile phones.
Yes, I do.
Did you use your experience in your training and your education to analyze the iPhone data from Mr. O'Keefe's phone as it related to the information from the Lexus vehicle?
Objection, Your Honor.
Can you answer that, yes or no?
Yes.
Thank you, Teresa.
Yes,
You did?
I did.
Okay. Did you see what type of information was being stored on Mr. O'Keefe's cell phone as far as location data?
Objection, Your Honor.
I don't know that.
Yes, I did. In reference to location data, Mr. O'Keefe's iPhone is recording timestamps, GPS position, speed, and heading. So heading is going to be the direction that the iPhone is facing.
Was there any particular application that you were aware of that he was using?
Yes, as far as I'm aware, he was using the Waze app for navigation.
Could we have number 39, please?
I turned the lights on to help make sure everybody was awake. If you're sleeping right now and you're hearing this in your head, just ignore me on that point.
Could you tell us what this shows, Mr. Burgess?
Sure. So specifically, what we're looking
A
at
whole lot of
within the
nothing.
location data is a 2-minute window. So that 2-minute window we see here graphically plotted on a map. And we see, it's hard to tell, but you can see a white dot, which is the center of a radius for a GPS position. The orange circles are the horizontal accuracy for each one of those positions. And
No. If there's someone that I feel is rude, I'll call them out. I was just being sarcastic. This is my sarcastic face.
then down here, you can see a black line that is coming off of each GPS position that represents the heading or the direction that the iPhone is facing.
You mentioned you had some materials from Mr. Whiffen. Did you?
You guys got to remember that I talk to the computer as if they could hear me on the other side.
Do you ever see any materials from Mr. Whiffen regarding location data that was acquired through the application Waze?
Yes, I did see a report by Mr. Whiffen.
Did you rely on his report, or did you independently, on your own, test the location information?
Sure. So I independently, on my own, looked at the location data from Mr. O'Keefe's phone.
I think he was influenced by Whiffen too.
This diagram that we see with all the points on it, is this developed from your own independent view and review of Mr. O'Keefe's location data?
It is.
To the top left is a round circle. What does that indicate?
Sure. So top left. So yeah, so that's going to be, again, the GPS coordinate beginning for this 2-minute interval that we're looking at. The orange circle is going to be the horizontal accuracy for that GPS point.
And then bring us down.
Can anybody feel the anticipation starting to build for that cross? Because we have to be right there. There can't be much more to this, can there? Take a deep breath. It's almost time for cross, right?
Down and up to the left. There seems to be a bigger circle on the top.
Sure.
Amanda?
So as
Good
we
catch.
come down, believe what is Cedar Crest and go up Cedar Crest, we have a position where the course heading of the iPhone changes, the speed lowers, and we have a lot more GPS points in a centralized location. So that's why you see that overlapping circles in that location.
When you're following and analyzing Mr. O'Keefe's location information, does this in any way relate to the first of those two text stream events that you originally were focused on?
It does relate to the first text stream event, which identifies a 3-point turn.
And again, although you're not an accident reconstructionist, do you know if there's data that was captured regarding this 3-point turn as far as an event?
Yes, I'm aware of data that was captured during that 3-point turn event.
If we could turn to page 40, please. I want you to explain to us,
Okay, I'm just gonna say it. This guy feels slimy as hell to me too.
how this chart works. What does a point mean?
Sure. So when we were initially provided the location data, again, we were provided a partial view or a partial data set of that location data. And within that Excel spreadsheet that data was provided in, it was identified as GPS points. So what we've got here is we've got the partial data along with the full data set that I was provided later on. So we've got a couple columns here. So we've got point, which is GPS point from that partial initial data set that I was provided. We've got timestamps. So these timestamps are every second. With every second, there is a latitude and a longitude recorded as well.
At this point, you have to say they have to see it too, right? Then why are they still allowing this to go on? Why are they allowing this trial to make a mockery of the justice system? Why are we allowing someone's rights to be trampled on? That's what I can't understand. They're still letting this go on.
Well, as a horizontal accuracy, a speed, and again, a course heading.
When you looked at data point 154, is there a time ascribed to that?
There is a time described to that as 12:23:58.
Before you did this more in-depth analysis, were you relying on anything beyond point 154, that one line?
No, so that was the only thing that was being relied on at that time.
I
Why?
wouldn't be surprised.
Because again, we were initially provided a partial data set of the location.
And why didn't you seek earlier on to break this down with more specificity?
Again, because the generally accepted
If they could do this to Karen Reed, they could do this to any of us.
clock variance is up to 60 seconds. And that data was consistent with everything else we were seeing. So there was no need to look any further.
And what compelled you again to look further?
A claim of misinterpreting and a misleading calculation trying to adjust these clocks.
And who made that claim, sir? He just said a claim that someone made him. Okay, who made that claim? When? We need more information.
Were you given a report?
I was not given a report. I was giving a PowerPoint presentation.
Let's see. When you decided to delve deeper into this, was that on your own initiative or were you requested to do it?
That was on my own initiative.
Now, rather than simply relying on point 154, what does breaking it down with all of the times and numbers between the green and orange do for your analysis?
Sure. So breaking it down, we can see between the green. So the green highlighted in green is position or timestamp 12:23:59.
I wish that my answer to that was no. But basically on everything that we're seeing and have seen on this case, you got to remember I still haven't gone through the first trial because that's our oath here. I didn't go through it. But I have seen left and right reasons that they would do that because that's just the CW it is there. I don't understand. You're going to give a mistrial, then charge the person again, and then you're going to try for mistrial? I don't put it past them, not one bit.
We see happening before that time is the speed is pretty consistent between 15 and 8 miles per hour.
I don't know.
The speed starts to drop at that point. And if we look at the course heading, we can see that the course heading before that time is pretty consistent as well, between 339 and 348. So that is, at position or at time 12:23:59, the speed drops and the course heading changes from approximately 360, so straight north, to 284, which is in a northwesternly direction. After that time of 12:23:59, the speed recorded is 0, The course heading is 352. And at time 12:24:07, you see the speed pick back up, and the course heading is around 179 degrees. So it's going to be in a southern direction. So based on this information, we can tell that the vehicle.
No, my understanding is it was just because of the verdict. That's how they came. That's all I know because I've never seen that trial.
Between 12:23:59 and 12:24:07, made a 3-point turn maneuver, changing from the northern direction of heading to the southern direction.
At this point, you have to wonder, are they never going to let Karen Reed go? They're never going to just let her, like, it feels like she's like total hostage to this. It's not fair. So when people ask why people are obsessed with this case, it's self-explanatory in my opinion. If you can't see it, you can't see it.
Is this data generated from Mr. O'Keefe's phone or from the Lexus?
Sure. So this data is generated from Mr. O'Keefe's phone.
But at what point does somebody step in and see enough of this and stop it? That's what I don't understand. This hasn't happened yet. And the fact that it's not, and the longer it goes on and the deeper this goes, it's bone chilling.
Where you initially relied on 154 as a timestamp to identify the time and location of the car at a later point, does this give you
That's what I've been saying. If they could do this to her, they could do this to any one of us.
more of a benefit breaking it down?
This does give you more of a benefit breaking it down.
The zeros and the speed, what does that indicate to you as far as the data relative to the portion of the 3-point turn?
I don't think they will, because that means that they would have to let her go, meaning it's out of their control. I don't think that they would ever consider that. It has to be under their nose, their watch, the whole time.
Sure. So it doesn't necessarily mean the vehicle is at 0 miles per hour. Again, if you look at the horizontal accuracies, we've got anywhere between 16 and 29 feet. So that's the range in the GPS and what it's seeing. So if the car is, slightly moving or moving like you would expect during a 3-point turn, you would expect to see that speed at, 0 miles per hour.
And with that in mind too, so all the people that want to say, why are you so obsessed with this case? Here's a better question. Why aren't you?
Did you develop a photograph with some detail to explain this in more of a picture format?
Yes, I did make a graphical representation of this.
If we could have 41, please.
Me too.
Could you break this down for us, Mr. Burgess?
Sure. So this is, again, a zoomed in version.
Brittany, on what basis? Brittany says she's guilty. On what basis? Do you want to compare notes? Because I have them. What digital evidence? Make it make sense. Off of her backing up her car and his phone locking, that's what you're going to base it off of? She dropped him off. He put the phone in his pocket. Yeah, his phone locks at that point. They only need one thing to not charge her, and that's reasonable doubt. How many have they had? 586? You've been watching. I'm sure he died inside. Me too. I'm right there with you. I don't know if you know this or not, but they showed a video from inside the bar, and you saw where John put his phone away. It was always in his back pocket. Clearly you missed that. How did they prove it? Did they ever step in there to say otherwise? Did they do anything inside that house to investigate whether John O'Keefe crossed that threshold? You got to remember that straw wasn't found right away. That's found later. This was not a secured scene. People were coming and going. No. If you think I'm here for attention, you can go on with your thoughts. I really don't care. I have an interest. Apparently 160 other people do too. If you don't like it, go on. Are you kidding me? Okay. You got your notes, right? We're going to compare. You say I haven't been paying attention, so you got your notes? Let's compare. You ready? If he was out there in the cold all that time, why did his body temperature only drop 12 degrees? Let's start with that one. Oh, you didn't consider that? Okay. A temperature is only dropping 7 degrees in an hour while outside. How does that sound to you during a blizzard? Yeah, if you want to come on up in a box, we could have this discussion. Yeah, I mean, if we go with that, the whole getting rid of things, they get rid of their dog, they tear up the basement that they just recently did, they sell their house under market and it's a generational house. And that's just some of it. How many witnesses perjured themselves on the defense? They haven't presented their case yet, so none. How many have perjured themselves for the state? Do you know that number? If you need it, let me know. I'll count it for you. Did you see the video of Brian Higgins getting to the police station? Did you see someone standing behind the vehicle? His name was Proctor. When it was in the Sally Port, right by where the light was. This is a man that had the lead investigation of the case, and he lost his job because of his handling of this case. I haven't heard you say anything back, so do you want me to keep going? What about the witnesses talking to each other? Yeah, that's the only point we need. Proctor ruined the entire case, but I mean, if you want to compare, let me know when you're ready. Yeah, that nurse, I've heard about her. When you have something to back up what you could say, then you let me know. Until then, we're going to continue on.
The map that we showed earlier, and
My opinion from observation is that Karen Reed was framed and a man lost his life for what? These people think that they're invincible and they can get away with anything. Karen is not guilty, in my opinion, and this case should have been thrown out long ago.
what we've done is we've cleaned out or just removed, for the sake of simplicity, the other.
Listen, I know I talk about having ESPN, but it's not that strong. I don't know what they're going to come up with. My ESPN isn't that to that level. Can't help you with that. Sorry.
Points leading north to this point, and the points leading south. Those are going to be those 0 mile per hour indications. So what we're looking at is the heading change and that speed change, which occurs at 12:23:59.
No, I said it right. It's ESPN. In here, it's ESPN.
And you can see the heading change from the black arrow leading off of the center radius of the GPS position. Then at 12:24:07, you see the heading change to a southern direction, and then the other GPS points are consistent with the vehicle moving southbound on Cedar Crest.
Ashley, if you're just coming in, I'm not sure from what point you want me to go think back to, but honestly, nothing.
So
A
the
whole lot of
claim
nothing.
that you analyzed, did that actually compel you to analyze and identify a more accurate variance than you originally had?
It did.
And do you have an opinion to a reasonable degree of scientific certainty what the variance is between the clock on the defendant's Lexus on January 29, 2022 and Mr. O'Keefe's cell phone on January 29, 2022?
Yes, I do.
And to a reasonable degree of scientific certainty, what is that variance?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained. Need a little more, Mr. Byrne.
No, what news? Share. Spill that tea. I need to hear it.
Okay.
After the lives are done, I place all of them on my YouTube, so you guys could rewatch at any point thereafter I post the video. It's under the same name, Michelle's Criminal Musings. I don't understand how anyone could say she's guilty. Well, I gave that person an opportunity to speak. They haven't spoken, so.
After you studied timestamp 154, what did that help you do? What did you learn from that?
Sure. So after studying timestamp GPS point 154 and these further GPS positions, we're
Right, Axel, that's the question. How
able
reliable?
to identify the approximate, time that the 3-point turn occurred according to Mr. O'Keefe's iPhone data. So now we've got that event of when that 3-point turn occurred. Now we can compare that to the 3-point turn from the tech stream data and that running clock. Again, what we're doing is taking the power on event at 12:36 and adding the time count
know.
from the tech stream data to come up with the time of 12:23:38 in the tech stream data. So the tech stream data indicates a 3-point turn
You're welcome.
ended or a trigger event, a tech stream event ended at approximately 12:23:38. The iPhone indicates that a 3-point turn occurred between 12:23:59 and 12:24:07. So since we've got that
Exactly, and if they were so adamant that she is guilty, how come they couldn't back up anything that they said? Where's their notes?
shared event between the two devices, we can reconcile any type of clock
That is a
variance.
stretch, cat.
So adjusting the Lexus clock to the iPhone clock, we can calculate that clock variance.
Is this a methodology that is commonly used in your practice?
It is.
Is it commonly used in the scientific community which you're part of?
It is.
Are there scholarly papers about this type of methodology in comparison of synchronizing clocks?
There are.
One of the papers you wrote, did that have anything to do with synchronization of clocks?
It did not have anything to do with synchronization of clocks, but it was relative to how accurate the timestamps are of events from iPhones.
And that was one of your peer-reviewed papers?
Yes, it was.
And are there scholarly journals and studies on the synchronization of clocks?
There are, yes.
Did you use that methodology in your analysis to come to arrive at an opinion about the time variance between the defendant's Lexus and Mr. O'Keefe's phone?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And do you have an opinion to a reasonable degree of scientific certainty?
Yes, I do.
And what is that opinion?
The clock variance is between 21 and 29 seconds.
If we could have number 42, please.
Yeah, it's got to be the same as the Lexus clock. It can't be anything else.
What is this, Mr. Burgess?
Sure. So this is, if we think back to the last slide, we've identified the 3-point turn event in both the data sets. So now if we want to adjust one clock to the other, we can do that. And doing that, we've identified that the variance is between 21 and 29 seconds. So we would need to adjust the Lexus clock forward by 21 to 29 seconds to synchronize it with the iPhone data. So in doing that, the end of text stream event 1162.1 goes from 12:23:38 to 12:23, between 12:23:59 and 12:24:07.
These two clocks, one on the left being the Lexus clock that reads 12:23:38 a.m., and the other clock on Mr. O'Keefe's iPhone has a different time, 12:23:59 to 12:24:07. Do you have an opinion?
You just brought up a really good point, Arwen. How can it be between and not exact? You want to know what that is? That's reasonable doubt.
To a reasonable degree of scientific certainty, if these two clocks pertain to an event that's happening at the same time or a different time?
Yes, so these two clocks are, we are synchronizing these clocks to an event that is happening at the same time.
This is relative to the first text stream event, the 3-point turn. You said there was a second text stream event that you were analyzing.
Correct, there is a second text stream event.
And what is that second text stream event?
That second text stream event is a backing up maneuver.
Are you familiar with the time frame on the Lexus clock relative to that second text stream event?
Thank you.
Yes, I am.
And what is that time frame?
So it is approximately 19 minutes from the ignition on.
And do you know what time that is on the Lexus clock,
Yes, I do.
with the course permission?
Yes.
So that is going to be 12:31:43 is going to be the end of that text stream event.
That text stream event, by the way, when it captures data, what window of data does it capture when there's a text stream event or a triggering event?
Sure. So when the trigger occurs, it captures data 5 seconds before and 5 seconds after the trigger.
What if the event is less than 10 seconds?
So if it's less than 10 seconds, it would capture the entire event. If it's more than 10 seconds, it would only capture a partial snapshot of that event.
And so when you talk about the data for the backing event, is that the 10-second window you're speaking of?
Yes, that is that 10-second window.
Does that have anything to do with defining the length of the actual event?
No, it does not.
When you looked at the time from the Lexus clock regarding that backing event, did you do an analysis of John O'Keefe's phone considering the variance that you identified?
Yes, I did. So I applied the same variance to that second text stream event.
When you apply that variance between the Lexus clock and Mr. O'Keefe's phone, what is could I turn to 43, please? What is the time of that event if we're referring to Mr. O'Keefe's phone?
Sure. So the time of that event with the clock variance adjusted is 12:32:04 to between 12:32:04 and 12:32:12.
Monica, I 100% agree with you, and I think that's the plan, is to make the jurors just zone out.
And do you have an opinion to a reasonable degree of scientific certainty as to the accuracy of that time from Mr. O'Keefe's phone considering the variance?
Yes, I do.
And what is your opinion?
And the opinion is that the second text stream event ends between 12:32:04 and 12:32:12.
When you say text stream event, that's the 10-second window?
Correct. That's the 10-second window.
Does that necessarily include the entire event?
No, it does not.
The graph on the bottom, what does that show us? It looks a little bit overwritten.
Yeah, so that graph is a timeline representation of the text stream event ending, being adjusted with the 12:32:04 to 12:32:12 in comparison with the last lock event that is recorded by Mr. O'Keefe's phone at 12:32:09.
Your analysis relative to the data that you obtained from the SD card, is your analysis and opinions separate from the other information you looked at that corroborated or supported your analysis?
Yes, they are.
It makes them look slimy and underhanded, which is pretty much how I'm seeing them at all times.
I have no further questions.
Essentially, Cora, that's what I'm getting from it too. Except they're not saying he went in the house. That's just... I know. Okay, who do we have? Mr. Alessi. Yes, Mr. Alessi's turn. All right, everybody wake up. Mr. Alessi's turn.
Lights, please.
Sorry, I get excited.
That's as good as they can be, huh? One's burnt out. I'll see Councilor Tucker. Just a minute.
You know it's gonna be really big when Alessi stands up for it, right? Yeah, literally this is the dream team. Oh yeah, good catch. Thank you. Saiba. You know what? Who wants to track the sustains? Only one person to track the sustains. One person to track how many objections there are.
Lunch isn't here, so this seems like a good place. We'll get a little more light in here for a bit.
They're going to lunch, but don't worry. Here we practice patience with parameters, so we'll just fast forward straight the hell ahead. I think it's good to start with the lunch instead of during it, for once. See, patience with parameters pays off, people.
Court is back in session. You may be seated.
I don't know why I'm so cold. I think it's this medicine.
Whenever you're ready, Mr. Leslie.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Go get them.
Good afternoon, Mr. Burgess.
Good afternoon.
You spell your first name Shannon with one N. Do I have that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
You describe yourself as a digital forensic examiner, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
You use the term forensics often in your analysis.
Yes, I do.
And would you agree that generally the accepted definition of forensics is something that relates to, that's used in, and is suitable for a court of law?
Yes, I would.
And so when you're working in forensics, even in your office, you understand that eventually it's very likely that whatever work you're working on is going to end up or could end up in a court of law, correct?
Correct.
And you mentioned in your direct examination the scientific method, right?
Correct.
And I was pleased to hear mention of the scientific method. And I just want to cover some principles with regard to the scientific method. But before I do, I just want to see how forensics envelopes in certain items. So forensics applies scientific methods and principles to legal matters, particularly in criminal investigations, right?
Correct.
It's a fair statement.
Yes.
Thank you. And forensics are used to help lawyers in their preparation, correct?
Yes, that'd be correct.
And it's used to help judges in courts of law.
Yes, that is correct.
And it's also used to help juries and jurors to understand the results of scientific tests, correct?
Correct.
So you know, and you have to presume that as you are performing your analysis, as I stated earlier, that this information is going to end up in a court of law.
Correct.
And then does that heighten sort of the analysis that you need?
Redder than a tomato.
To do in the sharpness and the accuracy, given that it's going to end up in that form?
It can, depending on context.
And is the primary goal of forensic science to uncover the truth and to
The jury sees this. Keep in mind, the jury sees this. They know.
provide objective evidence that can be presented in a court?
Yes, it is.
Would you generally agree that the work of forensic science, including the work that you do, is intended to be used in court because scientific evidence can be very powerful and therefore the forensic science must be accurate,
Correct?
it must be methodical,
Correct?
there must be a method, right?
Right.
It must be detailed,
Yes.
and above all, it must be unbiased and truthful,
Take that
correct?
drink.
That is correct.
And all of this, is it fair to say, distills down to reliability?
Correct.
And reliability is a desired characteristic of the forensic scientist.
Thank you
Yes.
for the
You want
follow.
people to be able to rely upon your work.
Yes.
Do you
And
know?
credibility and honesty is part of reliability, and it's a fundamental component of that, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
You've stated that you hold your opinions to a reasonable degree of scientific certainty. You said that several times on direct, correct?
Correct.
And because the discipline of forensics involves the application of the scientific method, as you stated on direct, you therefore, of course, applied the scientific method throughout your analysis, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Would you agree with the following statement of the scientific method? And tell me whether, well, let me start with, you understand, you know the National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST?
Yes, I am familiar. Yeah.
And would you agree with a definition of the scientific method as the systematic pursuit of knowledge involving the recognition and definition of a problem, the collection of data through observation and experimentation, analysis of the data, the formulation, evaluation, and testing of hypotheses, and where possible, the selection of a final hypothesis? I know there's a lot there, and if you'd like me to break any of it down, you let me know.
No, I find that generally acceptable. Yeah.
And I wanted to emphasize the end, the evaluation and testing of hypotheses, and where possible, the selection of a final hypothesis. You understand what I'm meaning by hypotheses?
Yes, I do.
Mr. Alessi has me using my lines this time. Put my dermaclara on.
The scientific method is used, among other reasons, is it not, to avoid certain biases in the science process, correct?
Yes, that's
Right.
correct.
So the method is trying to prevent a scientist, not cultural bias, but scientific bias, correct?
Correct.
Do you know what the American Academy of Forensic Scientists refer to as cognitive biases in science, generally?
No, I do not.
Have you heard of the term confirmation bias?
Yes, I have heard of that term.
Have you heard of the term anchor bias in the scientific method?
I have not heard that term.
Let's start with confirmation bias. Is a fair definition, and you said you're generally familiar with that, right?
Yes, correct.
So let's start with that. That's the practice of sort of selectively gathering and interpreting evidence to confirm the scientist's belief or a belief of another, and at the same time neglecting evidence that contradicts them. Is that a fair definition of confirmation bias?
Yes.
And an example of confirmation bias is not considering alternative hypotheses once an initial hypothesis has been selected, even though the data and other information might contradict the initial hypothesis. Fair statement?
Yes, that's a fair statement.
And confirmation bias although sometimes it occurs, is intellectually and analytically antithetical to, it's opposing of the scientific method, correct?
Correct, yes.
And it's to be avoided.
Right.
Anchor bias is, and I know you said you didn't recall it, but let me see if this triggers a recollection. If not, fair enough.
Okay.
Anchor bias is when you prioritize information and data that supports your initial impression of the evidence, even where the impressions are incorrect or it's unknown whether the impression is incorrect. You sort of anchor into that. Does that sound like a reasonable definition of anchor bias?
Yes, that sounds reasonable.
So biases are to be avoided in the application of scientific matters and methods because they can lead to incorrect conclusions in science, right?
Right.
Wait, where did we get that he's lying about his line of work, his profession, and his education? Where did we get that from? Did I miss something? No, just one why. Where did I don't know when this started, so who heard that he lied about his, we all need to be on the same page. Don't hold out, guys, tell me.
And even though they're to be avoided,
Try leaving and coming back in, see if that helps.
you called this case a homicide even before you began your alleged scientific testing. Isn't that correct?
I don't recall. Where would I have called it a homicide?
Do you recall your January 30th, 2025 report that you prepared?
Okay, which part of no spoilers, please, did you not see? Gotta have some respect.
In this case?
Yes, I do.
Do you have it with you?
I do.
Can you turn to page 4, footnote 3, please?
Yes.
Footnote, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, it is page 4, footnote 3.
It's okay. It's okay.
And in page 4, footnote
Right,
3,
Monica? The slow burn.
it states, I'm sorry, sir, are you there?
Yes, I am sorry.
It says evidence reviewed by the defense counsel Ray O'Keefe, MV homicide. Did I read that correctly?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, we did know.
Now, you assumed in the very beginning, that Miss Reed had hit Mr. O'Keefe with her car before you began the scientific testing that you had discussed in your direct.
No, that would be incorrect.
But you did list homicide down in footnote 3, correct?
Yes, I did.
And so this report's drafted January 30th, 2025, correct?
Correct.
And the testing, I'll just give you a snapshot. Some of the testing you discussed with Mr. Brennan, that testing didn't occur until after this trial started, correct? Some of the testing you described in direct?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay, so that testing didn't even occur in the trial. Just assume the trial started at April 22nd. So the testing you described when you were talking about aligning clocks and GPS, that occurred after April 22nd, correct?
Correct. It did.
Now let's go on to another topic. Let's talk about professional credentials. You know what I mean by the term credentials?
Mr. Alessi's like a silent assassin. He really is. Like, he has you sitting there thinking you're answering the questions just right and everything's going just fine, when really the case is falling apart for the prosecution. He's literally like a silent assassin.
Yes, I do.
Exactly. So polite.
Professional credentials are
Stop
important
using your lines.
in any profession, correct?
Correct.
And they're important in your forensic examiner profession
Sure
as
do.
well.
Correct.
Your forensic scientists and examiners are no different than any other professional, that credentials are important. And your profession requires you to provide curriculum vitae laying out your education, training, and background, correct?
Correct.
And it's imperative, is it not, that the information that is disseminated about your professional credentials are absolutely truthful, right?
Yes, they should be.
I should?
You say they should be. Let's continue on with that topic. You understand what's meant by the term ethics, right, generally?
Yes, yes.
Something that this case
And
had
simple
never had?
ethics mandate that one is truthful about their professional credentials, correct?
Correct.
Something we haven't seen done in
And a
this case again.
fundamental credential is what type of college degree you hold, correct?
Correct.
People rely on those credentials, and the credentials are the foundation of your expert opinions and analyses, correct?
I'm getting secondhand discomfort at this.
They can be, yes.
They can be and they often are, correct?
Yes, they can be depending on context.
But more often than not, they're important.
Yes, again, depending on context.
You know that not only your colleagues, but your clients, firm clients, courts, and juries will rely on your CV and your credentials in order to make determinations about whether you're qualified to testify and your depth of your qualifications, correct?
Correct.
You provided the Commonwealth, the defense, and the court with your CV in this case, correct?
Correct.
Are you sure?
If I can have a moment, Your Honor, I will
Yes.
get my first exhibits.
Are you certain? They're verging on purple.
Yes.
It's gone down a lot. I can't stop using my expression lines. That's how invested I am in this moment. So this thing keeps moving because I'm trying not to use my expression lines and I can't help it. I have to train my face to not do that.
May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
Right? And he's so polite about it too.
Your Honor, if I could have this marked
He's like-
as the next exhibit.
He's like, let me take you to school, please. Let me take you to school.
Identification?
For identification at this point.
Okay.
Well, actually, I'm going to have it, I'm going to be eventually offering it into evidence, so
Okay.
may I present it to the witness
So let's mark it for identification
first?
first.
Yep, okay.
Is it a TT for identification?
So was he lying about his school? Are we about to find out that he was lying about his education? I don't know. This case. It's giving me more wrinkles.
May I present it to the witness?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Burgess,
Yes.
I am presenting you with exhibit.
TT for identification.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm learning not to talk while I'm walking backwards so Madam Court Reporter can hear me. So I'm presenting you with what is exhibit TT for identification. Do you recognize that document?
Yes, I do.
Wait, you have that nightmare too? Jamie, I have that nightmare all the time. This is today's We Just Start Later so we can fast forward through all the sidebars. It's patience with parameters. We practice that pretty heavy in here.
And what is that document?
So this document appears to be my CV.
God, what is
May I
that?
approach further?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, he has very much slowed me down.
And is that CV a document that you have prepared?
Yes, so that is a document that either I have prepared or the company Apture has prepared.
And is that a fair and accurate document?
It appears to be.
Your Honor, I offer that into evidence.
I'm thinking that might be his best decision at this point is to run and hide. What the hell?
Any objection, Mr. Browning?
No, thank you.
I hear it too.
And if you could just, if you are, if I have the witness hold on, I have some
Hold on,
questions.
let's let it mark
Yes,
first.
yep.
Now, keep in mind, we haven't said that he's lied about anything yet. We're waiting for Mr. Alessi to show us what he's getting ready to show us, I hope.
Exhibit 183.
I'm having sympathy palpitations here. Thank you, Celeste.
Thank you.
I know. I can't stop using my expression lines.
Mr. Burgess, you have in front of you your CV that we just spoke about, and I'd ask you please to draw your attention to the education section where underneath in red it says BGS, and then, do I read it correctly? It says Bachelor of General Science in Mathematics and Business Administration, University of Alabama Birmingham, Alabama currently pursuing. Did I read that correctly?
You did read that correctly.
Thank you, sir. Yep.
What? He's currently pursuing that education? He doesn't have it yet? He's currently trying to get that education. Holy shit, Alessi.
Approach, Your Honor.
Yes.
Thank you. Like this mark is the next for identification only at this point. Oh, excuse me, can I have that back one? Show Mr. Brown. Sure.
Definitely getting more secondhand palpitations right about now. I'm starting to get a sympathy pink on my face too. Maybe it'll turn purple like his.
May I hand it to the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
Yeah, no spoilers, guys. No spoilers.
Well, I'm going to actually have it marked for identification first,
Okay.
and we'll go from there.
Exhibit UU for ID.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Burgess, it's been marked, the document is Exhibit UU for identification. Could you please tell me if you recognize that?
Yes, I do recognize that.
And sir, please describe briefly what that is.
Sure. So it is a CV as well.
Thank you. I would offer it into evidence at this time, Your Honor.
Mr. Brennan, any objection?
No, thank you.
Let me roll it back. Hold on.
Exhibit 184.
Because I was too excited to write it down.
Dash currently pursuing. Did I read that correctly?
You did read that correctly.
Thank you, sir. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Like this mark is the next for identification
Thank
only at
you.
this point. Oh, excuse me, can I have that back one? Show Mr. Brown.
I didn't even turn that on. The closed captions at the bottom. He said Mr. Brennan and it put down Mr. President. We don't do politics, sir. Turn off the captions for now. That's my question. That's why I was asking earlier, is what are the chances that Bev is letting all this happen on purpose, like to bust all these people? Because you guys know I like to devil's advocate my thinking,
May I
but
read it to the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Well, I'm going to actually
don't
have
think
it marked
that's
for
the case.
identification first,
Okay.
and we'll go from there.
Exhibit UU for ID.
Thank you.
think of how many people this case alone has derailed their lives and buried their careers. Think about that. They have had so many people perjure themselves. No, we start late every day so we could fast forward through the sidebars. It's called patience with parameters. We are heavy practicers of that in here.
Thank you.
Mr. Burgess, it's been marked, the document is Exhibit UU for identification. Could you please tell me if you recognize that?
Yes, I do recognize that.
And sir, please describe briefly what that is.
Sure. So it is a CV as well.
Thank you. I would offer it into evidence at this time, Your Honor.
Mr. Brennan, any objection?
No, thank you.
Exhibit 184.
Thank you. I present it back to the witness, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know, Susan. That's one of the reasons why I don't understand how people don't know this case, because of everything that it's not just one life. There's so many people in this, so deep in this will affect other cases. I watched Medea. I've watched cases be thrown out. I mean, it's scary because there are also probably going to be some that are guilty that their case has to get thrown out too. No, what? What?
When marked, the document is Exhibit U for identification. Could you please tell me if you recognize that?
Yes, I do recognize that.
And sir, please describe briefly what that is.
Sure. So it is a CV as well.
Thank you. I would offer it into evidence at this time, Your Honor.
Mr. Brennan, any objection?
No, thank you.
Exhibit 184.
That's what's scary. If they could do this to her, they could do this to any of us.
Thank you. I present it back to the witness, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you.
I didn't hear it.
Thank you.
May I hand it to the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to actually ask to have it marked for identification first,
Okay.
and we'll go from there.
Exhibit UU for ID.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Burgess, it's been marked, the document is Exhibit UU for identification. Could you please tell me if you recognize that?
Yes, I do recognize that.
And sir, please describe briefly what that is.
Sure. So it is a CV as well.
Thank you. I would offer it into evidence at this time, Your Honor.
Mr. Brennan, any objection?
No, thank you.
Tell me you're biased without being biased.
Exhibit 184.
Thank you.
No, it's not what she's supposed to do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They all noticed that too, right? The jury
Mr. Burgess,
noticed that too?
once you've had a fair opportunity to look at that, I have a question, and that question is simple. Is that your April 2025 CD?
Let me see. Yes, it appears to be.
Thank you.
Exactly.
And when you've had a fair opportunity to look at it, when you just pick your head up, sir, to let me know you're ready. I don't want
Yes.
to rush you, but then I have some questions.
Absolutely. Go
Thank
ahead.
you. So, in those two exhibits, your two CVs in front of you, am I correct that the first one is November 2024 and the second one is April 2025?
Let me see. Yes, that appears to be correct.
And in both of those CVs, you indicate that you have not yet earned a bachelor's degree.
That is correct.
And you certainly have not earned a Bachelor of Science degree in any educational field according to those two CVs, right?
Correct.
And in fact, as you sit here today, you do not possess any bachelor's degree.
Correct.
And the reason, as you state, is because that bachelor's degree is currently pending, that's the term you use.
So I use currently pursuing.
Currently pursuing, yes. So you have a public profile that's published on Aperture's website, correct?
Yes, I do.
And it's in the form of a biography page?
Yes, I believe so.
And that biography page has your education listed?
Very possible, yes.
Secondhand embarrassment tenfold. And it's for Brennan.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Idiot.
If I could
An
have this
expert in
marked,
training.
please, and once Mr. Brennan reviews it.
He'll say, what do you bet? He'll say, but I'm an expert in training.
Thank you.
No, this is Alessi.
Your Honor, may I have this marked as next identification in order? Thank you.
No more spoilers, guys. No more.
Exhibit BB for ID.
May I hand it to the witness?
Yes.
I now, Mr. Burgess, given you Exhibit DB for identification.
Okay.
You recognize that document?
Yes, I do.
And indeed, that is the bio page that's published on Aperture's website, correct?
That is what it appears to be, yes.
Now, I would like you, sir, to turn to page 2 of that document.
Okay.
And I'd like to turn your focus to the bottom of education heading. It states, am I correct, sir, BS, Mathematics, and Business Administration. Is that correct?
It does state that, yes.
And there is
Not only does he not have it, he lied about it.
no qualification that's currently pending. It states BS in Mathematics and Business Administration, correct?
That's what it states there, yes.
And you do not have a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics and Business Administration, do you?
No, I do not.
This is what he'd like to call education with parameters. That's what I'm seeing too.
And if you click on the hyperlink for your CV on that same website, do you know where that hyperlink takes you?
No, I do not.
To any member of the public reading this, including prosecutor, a defense attorney, a judge, or a jury, that represents that you received your Bachelor of Science in Mathematics and Business Administration, does it not? Objection.
That's sustained, Mr.
Now, if you continue on to your photograph, are you familiar with Aperture's website that speaks about you and presents you
He's
generally?
failing now.
Vaguely, yes.
If he's trying to save his career, he's failing.
Are you aware that Aperture has two hyperlinks, one that says CV and one says LinkedIn? Are you aware of that?
Yes, I am now.
And
Shannon.
LinkedIn
Burgess.
is a professional networking platform designed for career and business professionals to connect, share contact, find jobs, etc. Is that a fair description of LinkedIn?
Yes, it is.
And could we also conclude that it's a professional networking platform, especially for private sector firms like Aperture, that's used to attract clients or potential clients?
Yes, correct.
And potential clients include, for example, the Commonwealth of the state of Massachusetts, correct?
Correct.
And indeed, the Commonwealth is no longer, if you will, an attracted client, but it's an actual client of Aperture and you, correct?
Correct.
And that's the status of the relationship.
How can he put in for things to be professional peer reviews when he doesn't even have the education level he needs to practice what he's practicing?
Appear, Aperture is a client of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts in this case, right?
Correct.
So is it fair to say that your CV, especially when it's published on a LinkedIn or published on a website, is something that is published to intend?
What do you mean, that poor guy? He just lied to everybody that ever tried to work for him as a professional. Yeah, he's got to be having palpitations. I feel
to
him.
have, especially if you're in the private sector, have clients view and retain your services. That's a hope and an expectation, correct?
Yes, that is part of it.
Now, when you look at that document, when you click on, if you were to be in your office, and let's see if you're familiar with this, you click on your LinkedIn on Aperture's page, that would ordinarily take you directly to your professional LinkedIn account, correct? Isn't that what the links are there for?
Yes, I would expect so.
Mislead the public. Okay. Just another day.
Are you notified when someone electronically accesses your LinkedIn account?
Yep.
Not accesses, no. Are you
It
referring to
tells you.
Yes,
viewing?
that's
Yes,
a better
sorry,
verb,
yeah.
viewing, yes.
Yes.
So you're notified. Were you notified within the last 72 hours that someone from the defense accessed your publicly available or viewed your publicly available LinkedIn account?
No, I was not aware.
I just want to take a moment to say that they literally just found this out. Literally. He tried to present an entirely new witness, an entirely new timeline, and just by checking his LinkedIn, they found that this guy lied about his education. I'll leave that where it is.
Are you aware that within the last 72 hours, that hyperlink on Aperture's official website was disabled?
No, I was not aware.
Are you aware that now if you try to go on that link, that you can't, that it's disabled?
No, I'm not aware of that.
You just said that you went to it. Alessi is saying you can't go to it anymore. Did you, how long ago did you try? Listen, you have to wonder at this point if Hank just succeeds at losing everything, because damn.
Do you know whether anyone from Aperture directed someone within Aperture to disable your LinkedIn account within the last 72 hours?
No, I'm not.
Have you spoken to anybody at Aperture about your LinkedIn account?
No, I have not.
You guys remember what I say every day? That the next day can't be any more powerful than the one that we're on. And what happens every single day that we've been in court? Every day has something bigger than the last. I don't know if my palpitations could survive much more.
Your Honor, I'd like to move VB into evidence at this time, please.
Any
Right?
objection?
Every day.
This one.
This one, I presented to you. No objection.
Exhibit 185?
It is possible, Brian. We can't ignore that. It could have been done by the company. You're right. Big cough there.
We are done with those, so
Sure.
if I could ask those back to you.
Absolutely.
please the next one mark for identification at this point?
Yes.
Thank you.
I mean, at what point is Bev just gonna say, you know what? I should have thrown this out 52 other things ago, but I'm still not gonna do it. It is. Good thing they printed it out. And if you think about it, how many other cases has he testified in as an expert witness? Because he's there as an expert witness. Well, if you could tell me what it is and where to find proof of that, I'd greatly appreciate it.
May I present to the witness?
Yes.
I know, Parker, and that's what's
Mr.
sad.
Burgess, I presented to you what is marked as Exhibit WW for identification. I'd ask that you take a look at it, take a fair amount of time, and then if you could, sir, pick your head up so I could see that you're ready.
Sure.
No spoilers, guys. Come on. I know. This one is right up there with it, though.
Okay.
Do you recognize that document, sir?
Yes, it appears to be a screenshot of my LinkedIn account.
Your Honor, I offer that into evidence.
The enjoyment he had when offering that into evidence was real.
Can I see you at sidebar with these?
Jesus. Bev initiated a sidebar. Clearly, they had to have thought they were playing with a lawyer that didn't know it. Like you said, clearly, you have to be right with that because they've been sadly shamed many times over. This is why I call this group of lawyers the dream team. And she initiates them too. No, I'm sorry. Try as she might, I don't see how at this point, or any other point, because we've been saying that for how long now? 18 days. I think she is too. So where's the powers that be that they can't see this? They don't know this is happening? It was multiple years. I can't remember. I didn't write it down. I was too excited. Could be the end of a lot of careers. Think of all the people that they're throwing under the bus. They don't care that they're ending this guy's career by asking him to come on and say this stuff. They don't care that he's risking his freedom. 17, thank you guys.
May I approach your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Burgess, I am presenting to you what has been marked as Exhibit WW for identification. That is that a fair and accurate representation of your personal LinkedIn page? If you could take a moment to take a look at it.
Sure.
Mr. Leslie, we actually stepped out.
I hope not, Brandy.
Yes, Your Honor, thank you.
I heard that too, but we have no way to verify if that actually happened, sadly. But I did hear that too, that they asked her to stop sustaining. It can't be verified yet. I don't know if it can ever be verified outside of that courtroom.
Yes, it does with a error on page 2 regarding education.
Did
Right,
they
we're
take
gonna get to
shots?
that.
Sure.
But this is you recognize this as a fair and accurate depiction of your personal LinkedIn page with the exception of what you just mentioned, correct?
Correct.
That's Yannetti. There's Yannetti, there's Jackson. Is that who you're talking about? Now it's in error,
Draft
right?
that document that's represented as Exhibit WW.
I have drafted that over time, yes.
Limit the
And
spoilers,
when was
guys.
the last time you viewed that document on your LinkedIn page?
I don't typically view the profile page, so it would have been, I could not tell you how long it's been.
Do you have any reason
She
to
really
believe
is.
that that Exhibit WW is not on your LinkedIn page online as we sit here today?
No, I don't.
Your Honor, I move Exhibit WW into evidence.
No objection.
They have to, but we don't know that that was really asked of them. Keep that in mind.
To mark for the next exhibit, please.
Exhibit 186.
Thank you.
At this point, them sending her a letter is just the rumor mill. I don't think we'll ever be able to confirm it.
I would like to turn your attention to your personal, the printout of your personal LinkedIn page and go right to the second page, bottom. And under education, it says University of Alabama at Birmingham. It's got a little UAB acronym there. And it says Bachelor of Science, paren, B period, S period, comma, Applied Mathematics and Scientific Computation, 2016-2018. Do you see that, sir?
Yes, I do.
That's not correct.
I saw somebody ask for a verdict. If you can't tell, they're still in the middle of trial. So I have no idea when there would be a verdict. My ESPN isn't that strong.
Correct, is it?
No, it's not correct.
And you do not hold a BS in a Bachelor of Science in Applied Mathematics and Scientific Computation from the University of Alabama at Birmingham, do you?
I do not. And that would have been, at that time, an expected graduation date?
So it would be expected.
Are you really going to say you put that down there as an expected? Are you serious?
You state.
Correct.
I'm not angry. It's just we're in the middle of something. So for you to come in and ask things about when there could be a verdict, how would I know?
It would be another word for, another word currently pursuing? Is that similar to expecting?
Sure, that could be similar.
But you know how to put currently pursuing down, don't you, sir? Because you did it
Here
on
we
the
go.
first few CVs, but you don't have it on your LinkedIn page. Am I correct?
Correct. That's probably because obviously that has not been updated in quite some time.
You don't
And
say.
you said you get notifications when people access your LinkedIn page, correct?
I get selective notifications when people view my LinkedIn page.
So you know people are looking at your LinkedIn page, you know people are looking at your education, and you have down here 2016 to 2018. So that time period is 7 years old from 2018, yet you use the 2016 to 2018 on your LinkedIn page, correct?
Correct. With the caveat that my understanding is people look at your posts, not specifically the profile information.
Oh, so you believe you know apparently when people are looking at it and what they look at?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying generally.
Generally.
Correct.
But you don't know who's looking at the education section on your LinkedIn page and relying upon what is represented here, that you have a Bachelor of Science in Applied Mathematics and Scientific Computation from the University of Alabama at Birmingham.
Not from the LinkedIn page. Yeah, just independently of the LinkedIn page, yes.
His name is Shannon Burgess.
And as you sit here today, that page is still live on your LinkedIn, correct?
Correct.
It was at that time.
So a key aspect of your credentials, whether or not you have obtained a Bachelor of Science is incorrect in more than one document that I presented here today, correct?
No, I would not agree with that.
Well, it's incorrect in this one, correct?
Correct.
And the one previously to that, there's two documents that have you listed. This LinkedIn, may I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. So there's two documents, is there not, sir? There's. May I?
Sure.
And if I can have the previous one in evidence? So if you could hold that, this one, sir, and I'm going to
Sure.
take that if I could from you. Thank you. And Exhibit 185 that's in evidence, if you could turn
He
to
don't
the
need
second
help.
page.
You don't need help. He did fine on his own.
So if you look at each of those state that you have a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics and Business Administration. So there are two documents about your credentials that are inaccurate, correct?
Yes, they have errors. Yes, that is correct.
May I have those back,
Sure.
sir?
Yep, both?
Yes, please.
Yes. There you go.
Thank you.
If you guys ever wondered how to make yourself look like an idiot and still act like you didn't make yourself look like an idiot, this is how.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
I have the next document marked for identification only at this point.
Yeah, it's that simple, don't lie. Who's being questioned right now is Shannon Burgess. Catnip, you
have
looked
this
there,
marked as
right?
next for identification.
Okay.
Thank you.
Exhibit XX, right?
Here's me secretly not trying. Thank
Hand
you,
it to the
Ruth.
witness, Your Honor.
Okay.
Not trying to look up his
Handing the
LinkedIn.
witness Exhibit XX for identification.
Did you check his LinkedIn? Catnip? I'm trying to resist.
Do you recognize that
Yeah,
document,
don't-
sir?
So it appears to be a CV, yes.
You say it appears to be a CV. Can you describe that any further?
Appears to be.
Yes, so it's a copy of my CV.
Is that a CV you prepared, sir?
It would have been prepared by myself or Aperture, yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the end.
Sorry, it would have been prepared by myself or Aperture, yes.
Yourself or Aperture?
Correct.
But you had, at a minimum, a role in preparing that, did you not?
More than likely, yes.
Yeah, and you would have reviewed that because it's about you before it would have been used by Aperture, correct?
More than likely, yes.
You wouldn't let somebody put a CV up and out to the public without you reviewing it, would you, sir?
So there are other staff members that do review and update CVs.
But you're the only one who's going to know whether what's on it is accurate or not, correct?
Unless I explain that to them, yes.
So either way, either you prepared it yourself or you interacted with somebody and explained it and collaborated with them to make sure it was right to the best of your ability, correct?
Correct.
Well,
If
better
you
late than
can
never.
look at the highlighted portion, sir, under education.
There's no well, I understand
sorry.
what you're talking about. There's no highlighted portion.
I'm sorry, let's strike that. If you look under education, the first line, it says in the right underneath BGS. Do you see that, sir?
I do, yes.
And then to the right, it says Bachelor of General Science in Mathematics and Business Administration, University of Alabama - Birmingham, Alabama, 2022. Did I read that correct?
Yes, you did.
And up in the upper left-hand corner, there's a photograph.
Yes, there is.
Is that you, sir, in the photograph?
Yes, it is.
And in the spelling of your name, Shannon, that's with one N, correct?
Correct, yes.
And so that is not only you in the photograph, that's the spelling of your name with one N, correct?
Correct.
And that's the correct spelling of your first name with one N, correct?
Yes, it
So
is.
that's definitely you represented in this document, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you.
Now let's look at the first line that relates to education. It states Bachelors of General Science and Mathematics and Business Administration, correct?
That is what it states, yes.
And the date is 2022, correct?
Correct.
So this document represents that you received your Bachelor's of General Science and Mathematics and Business Administration in 2022, correct?
That is what it states, but there are a number of errors in that, yes.
Correct.
Errors?
So let's go.
You don't get to classify lies and errors as the same, sir. One is not intentional.
On, so this is the third example, am I correct, sir? Well, let me, may I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Your Honor, at
Thank
this
you for
time,
the
I
follow.
offer Exhibit XX into evidence.
No objection.
Okay.
Thank you.
Exhibit 187.
Craigslist still a thing? I mean, at this point, you have to wonder. But Aaron, when I said that earlier, somebody said that was the stupidest thing they ever heard. But now people are saying it.
Sir, is Exhibit 187 a CV that is linked directly from Aperture's website?
I do not know. I would have to look and check that.
They did it for
So
you.
as you sit here today, you are not able to state whether that CV is linked directly from Aperture's website?
Correct.
And this is real. This isn't a movie. This is an actual court case. A woman's life and freedom is on the line. Yeah, this isn't a movie. This is happening.
So this is a third example of a document that incorrectly states that you have a Bachelor of Science when you do not possess that degree, correct?
It has errors or outdated information, correct?
Well, when you say outdated, how is it that you can call a date outdated next to something that you don't possess?
I don't understand your question.
Well, you just used the phrase either incorrect or outdated. I'm trying to understand your statement that it's
Sure. So
outdated. Isn't it either you have a Bachelor of Science degree or you don't? Isn't
I have represented I do not have a bachelor's degree.
But in here, it's represented that you do.
Trying to get
Correct.
spicy.
Yes, it is
All
in
right.
error, yes.
So, let's look at what the name is that are on these documents. It says Bachelor of General Science in Mathematics and Business Administration. Do you see that, sir?
I do.
Are you aware that there's no degree at the University of Alabama, Birmingham, called a Bachelor of General Science in Mathematics and Business Administration?
Yes, I am. And that is one of the errors I identified.
So dude lied about having a degree to the point to where they don't even have a degree under that title. How do you mess up that bad? I mean, it's like half-assing it for everything on this court. What the hell?
You would agree that there's not even a degree called Bachelor of General Science in Mathematics and Business Administration offered at the University of Alabama, correct?
Correct. That should be Bachelor of General Studies with minor in Mathematics and Business Administration.
And what you just
Volunteer.
articulated, you do not possess as you sit here today, correct?
That is correct.
What you possess is an associate's degree, correct?
Correct.
And when did you obtain that associate's degree?
So that would have been 2015.
Not only did he not do his job, he also didn't do due diligence either. Hold on. Okay, you say that the guy just opened this door for mistrial. Oh my God, I hope that that is not why they did this. The charges need to be thrown out completely. I do too.
Are you familiar with the
I
term
am, thank you.
mendacity?
I have not.
That sounds like a name. A new age kind of name. Where's the person that came in here and said, oh no, Karen Reed is guilty? And I said, prove it. Where's that person right now? Because I'd be shoving
Are
this in their
you
face.
familiar with a CV of 2015?
No, I'm not.
Listen, I'm going to tell you right off. This is a discussion channel. My reactions are part of this. If you don't like it, go watch it yourself. That's how it is here.
May I approach Your Honor?
Yes.
And if you even come back and say I can't, I don't want to hear it. Right, Corey?
Your Honor, may I have this marked as the next exhibit for identification, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
His face has been read.
Thank you.
Do you recognize that document, sir?
No, I do not recognize this document.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Please tell me the jurors know what that means too.
Do you recall ever pursuing, may I stay here and ask some questions, Your Honor?
Okay.
Thank you.
Did he see the document as well, or do you have a copy for him?
He can see it as well, Your Honor.
Okay. I was just wondering the purpose.
Yeah, sure.
And just step back,
Yes,
Mr. Leslie.
yep. Sir, do you recall when you started pursuing a Bachelor of Science degree of any kind?
Sure, I do, around 2008.
So you started pursuing a Bachelor of Science for the first time in 2008, correct?
Correct.
Do it, Jamie.
If I did the math correctly, sir, you've been pursuing a Bachelor of Science degree for 17 years, correct?
That is correct.
And you have not obtained it as you sit here today.
That is correct.
And yet there are the various documents that we've seen that state that you have obtained the Bachelor of Science, correct?
Again, with errors or misinterpretation. Yes.
Errors or misinterpretation that are you stating, but you would agree those errors or misinterpretation have been in existence for some time, correct?
Yes, I'm being made aware of them now. Yes.
Yeah, and they haven't been corrected for some time, correct?
Correct.
You work for insurance companies, correct?
I do work for insurance companies in addition to law firms. Yes.
But you work for insurance companies, correct?
Yes, sometimes. Yes.
Well, you state that right in your report in this case, don't you, sir? That you work for insurance companies?
Again, I do work for insurance companies. Yes.
And what role do you play in working for insurance companies? You working for them, or are you working for the policyholders that have paid premiums or are making a claim to try to get money from an insurance company? Which role do you have? Objection.
I'll allow that.
Of course you'd object.
So I work for the insurance company themselves.
And in your work for the insurance company, has any of that work related to denying claims to insurance? Objection.
Why don't I see you on this, Mr. Leslie?
Sure.
Of course you'd object. If you wouldn't object, I think we'd have more questions. It's the audacity level for me on this one. Yeah. Which part?
Your Honor, may I have this marked as the next exhibit for identification, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
I wronged it.
Why, Friday?
Thank you.
I agree. He is taking Hank with him. Taking Hank with him.
Do you recognize that document, sir?
No, I do not recognize this document.
Are you just saying that, sir?
Yeah, put your hand.
Yes.
Thanks, sir.
Sure.
Do you recall ever pursuing, may I stay here and ask some questions, Your Honor?
Okay.
Thank you.
Did he see the document as well, or do you have a copy for him?
He can see it as well, Your Honor.
Okay. I was just wondering the purpose.
Yeah, sure.
Should we take a vote? How many people think I need to make that moment that we found that out into a clip? I think we do.
And just step back,
Yes,
Mr. Leslie.
yep. Sir, do you recall when you started pursuing a Bachelor of Science degree of any kind?
Sure, I do, around 2008.
So you started pursuing a Bachelor of Science for the first time in 2008, correct?
Correct.
I want to make it abundantly clear I'm not trying to knock anyone that's been trying to get their degree. Keep going at it, keep doing you, at least it's something. But this, he lied about it. It's totally different. No, they clearly either wanted to see if the defense would
If I
miss
did the
this,
math
or
correctly, sir, you've been pursuing a Bachelor of Science degree for 17 years, correct?
That is correct.
And you have not obtained it as you sit here today.
That is correct.
And yet there are the various documents that we've seen that state that you have obtained the Bachelor of Science, correct?
Again, with errors or misinterpretation. Yes.
Errors or misinterpretation that are you stating, but you would agree those errors or misinterpretation have been in existence for some time, correct?
Yes, I'm being made aware of them now. Yes.
Yeah, and they haven't been corrected for some time, correct?
Correct.
listen, buddy, when you put your stuff on, when you put down that you have a degree, that's on you, nobody else. That is pure you. He's sitting there smiling. He says it with a smile on his face. Is this the hill that you want to be on live on?
You work for insurance companies, correct?
I do work for insurance companies in addition to law firms, yes.
But you work for insurance companies, correct?
Yes, sometimes, yes.
Well, you state that right in your report in this case, don't you, sir? That you work
I'm sure that isn't the only 7 seconds he's regretting.
for insurance companies?
Again, I do work for insurance companies, yes.
And what role do you play in working for insurance companies? You working for them, or are you working for the policyholders that have paid premiums or are making a claim to try to get money from an insurance company? Which role do you have?
Gotcha.
I'll allow that.
So I work for the insurance company themselves.
And
So
in your work for the insurance company, has any of that work related to denying claims to insurance?
Objection.
Why don't I see you on this, Mr. Leslie?
Sure.
Hold on. He was denying claims to people? This man was denying claims to people? Think about it. Think about it. Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, you couldn't have picked a worse person to put before this jury. Are you serious right now? This is my uncomfortable smile. What the hell?
Mayor, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Are you familiar with the phrase academic dishonesty?
Yes, I am.
Better get used to it too. Stay used to it.
Let's talk about your work on this case. In October of 2024, the Commonwealth hired you to perform a new data acquisition from the infotainment and telematics system of Ms. Reed's Lexus SUV, correct?
That is correct.
And in your October 10, 2024 report, you outlined a proposal for attempting to extract additional data from the telematics and infotainment modules, correct?
Correct. With the caveat, it's not a report, it is a proposed protocol.
I know, Kathy. That's what I was trying to point out earlier.
So we'll call it a proposal. In that proposal, you explain why, in your opinion, you believed an additional data acquisition was necessary based on your words, education, training, and background, correct?
That is correct.
And as compared to your proposal, you had access to the manufacturing specifications of the chips in question, correct?
I did.
You were under no critical deadlines to get the work done, correct?
Correct.
In your initial October 10, 2024 report, you explained that you believed the data acquisition was incomplete because, in your opinion, based on your education, again, your words, training, and experience, the download of the acquisition was less than the chip's storage capacity, correct?
You guys were quicker than me on that one. I had a totally delayed reaction. So, sir, tell us how much your work matters. Tell us right now, because what education, sir? The hell?
That is correct.
And converting megabytes, B-Y-T-E-S, to megabits, B-I-T-S, and gigabytes to gigabits is a basic digital forensic concept. And that concept's critical to successful data acquisition and analysis. Fair statement?
I would say that's a fair statement.
In your initial report, you stated that the December 2023 data acquisition was from the Spansion clip, S-P-A-N-S-I-O-N, from the infotainment model was incomplete because the acquisition was only 8 megabytes in size, even though the chip has a storage capacity of 64 megabytes, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And that's your October 10, 2024 report, correct?
Protocol.
I'm sorry, what was it, proposal or protocol?
Protocol.
Protocol.
It is a
Yes,
protocol.
sir.
We'll use protocol. And you blame this on the, quote, programmer's inability to fully read the component, close quote, correct?
Correct.
In point of
Good
fact,
question, Theodore.
the manufacturing specifications establish that the total flash memory component of the chips in question is equal to 64 megabits, not 64 megabytes, correct?
That is correct.
64 megabits is 8 megabytes, correct?
That is correct.
That means the Spansion chip was not incomplete, correct?
Correct.
The acquisition was the same data size as the total memory storage capacity of the chip, correct?
Correct.
Your protocol for data acquisition was based on a misunderstanding of megabits versus megabytes, correct?
It was based on a working theory and a misinterpretation. Yes.
And that was your misinterpretation.
Yes, it was.
He
You
says it with a smile on
mentioned
his
Ms.
face.
Daphne in your direct testimony. Do you recall that, sir?
Yes, I do.
She successfully acquired 8 megabytes of data from that Spansion chip during the December 2023 chip-off, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And that wasn't your only conversion mistake in your October 10, 2024 report, was it?
I'm not aware of any others.
You stated in your report
Ow.
that the data acquisition of the Micron JWB57 was incomplete because the acquisition was only 540 MB in size, but the storage capacity was 4 GB, and that's stated in your October 10, 2024 report, correct?
Protocol, yes,
Protocol.
correct.
The Micron JWB57 chip is 4 gigabits flash memory component, not a 4 gigabyte flash memory component, as you incorrectly stated in your protocol.
That is correct.
So contrary to your assertion in the report, 4 gigabits is equal to 50 megabytes, which suggests that all the available data was successfully retrieved from this chip during the first acquisition by Ms. Gaffney, correct?
Correct.
So Ms. Gaffney was not in error on that. She did not make a mistake on that, correct?
Not on that specific thing, yes.
Right. It was you that simply misunderstood the difference between gigabits and gigabytes, correct?
Misinterpreted, I would not say misunderstood.
Really, you're going to be
You
that picky with the word?
misinterpreted the difference between gigabits and gigabytes.
Correct, at that
You
time,
got
yes.
that wrong in layperson's terms.
Correct, I did make an error.
You stated in your report that Micron, and I'm going to have to give an alphanumeric number because I know in digital forensics it's important to be precise and accurate, so bear with me, sir. You stated in your report that the Micron 29F2G08 ABAEA is a 2 gigabyte chip, and that the acquisition should have been 2 gigabytes, but was incomplete because it was only 264 MB in size, correct?
That is correct.
And the Micron, and I'm just going to refer back to the number to not repeat it, the long alphanumeric number, is a 2 gigabit flash memory component, not a 2 gigabyte flash memory component, as you incorrectly stated in your protocol, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
So 2 gigabytes is equal to 250 megabytes, correct?
Correct.
And that suggests that all available data was successfully retrieved during the first acquisition by Ms. Gaffney, correct?
From those chips, yes.
From those chips.
Correct.
I'm correct, right?
Yes,
Your opinion was again incorrect and was based on a misunderstanding of gigabits and gigabytes, correct?
a misinterpretation, correct.
A misinterpretation in layperson's terms, you got that wrong also.
It was an error, yes.
Did you have that
You guys are unaliving me with the Amber Heard stuff.
protocol peer reviewed, sir?
No, I did not.
Was it peer reviewed by anybody at Aperture?
No, it was not.
Did you have a supervisor review that protocol before you filed it with the court?
No, sir.
You submitted your proposal based on your education, background, and experience, correct?
Correct.
Turns out that the entire foundation of your proposal was based on a fundamental misinterpretation of the difference between a computer bit and a computer byte, correct?
No, not the entire thing, no.
Well, certainly a part of it was, correct, sir?
Correct, partial.
You got conversions wrong with respect to analyzing 3 different chips, correct?
Correct.
And since you wrote that, have you learned the difference between a bit and a byte?
I've always known the difference between a bit and a byte, yes.
Then you just chose not to use
You
it?
learned that in this case from reading the affidavit of an expert for the defense who pointed out those errors before you submitted your supplemental report. Isn't that correct?
I would have to go back and look at the timing on that. I believe I submitted the supplemental before the before the protocol from the other expert.
Okay, I have a new demand. If I ever get arrested for anything, not that I plan to break the law or wouldn't do any of that, make sure Aaron gets this guy for me too. I want Alessi and Jackson, please.
Are you certain of that?
I'm not certain of that.
I'm gonna blow it up as soon as the live's over, 100%.
Isn't it the case that the expert for the defense submitted his affidavit before you submitted your supplemental report?
Objection.
Do you know that?
I do not know that.
You don't know one way or another.
Correct.
Most important thing of the day, yeah, update your LinkedIn's. The fact that he even thought he
And
could do
that person that
this.
I've referred to for the defense is Matthew DeSogra. You know that name?
I do.
And you have read Mr. DeSogra's affidavit in this case, have you not, sir?
I have, yes.
And you would agree that he pointed out these misinterpretations of yours in his affidavit, correct?
Correct.
I loved that store.
I would like to go back to your January 30th, 2025 report.
That's my question. Not only did he think he was going to get away with this, but he thought everybody was going to be stupid enough to believe him. If they wouldn't have called him out like this, God knows how many times he had already done this. Just imagine if he did this in her case, he could do it in any other ones too. I know. I was thinking that earlier. I didn't want to say it though. I could see her rushing really soon here. I'm surprised she hasn't so far.
May I have a moment, Your Honor, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
I know. I can't believe it either, Mela. You see, even Mela says the same thing. I couldn't agree more.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
The
Thank you.
audacity.
In your January 30th, 2025 report, you know which one I'm referring to, sir?
Yes, I do.
Am I correct that you indicated that at the time of this, quote, incident, Burla did not offer support for the infotainment and telematics modules removed from the Lexus, but have since released updated software according to similar modules that are supported by in-vehicle acquisition?
That is correct.
And the infotainment module that was removed from Ms. Reed's Lexus is consistent with the MMU, you know what I'm referring to in the MMU?
Right.
It's consistent with the MMU documented by Burla and has been identified as containing an internal micro SD card not acquired during the initial chip-off acquisition by Mrs. Gaffney. You remember that statement in the report, sir?
I do, yes.
You obtained no additional information from the chips that were already analyzed by Ms. Gaffney, did you?
Correct.
Correct that you obtained no additional information, right?
No data of value from those chips, yes.
No data of value. So all the data of value Ms. Gaffney had already obtained from those chips, correct?
That's kind of a confusing question. So there was no data of value from those chips
Sir, something you get confused is a question, not an education.
to begin with.
Fair enough.
Right.
So Ms. Gaffney didn't miss anything of value.
Correct.
Fair?
Correct.
Thank you,
Do
partner.
you know how much the Commonwealth has paid Aperture to date for doing the work in this case?
I do not.
Are you sure?
Do you have any involvement at all in knowing what the contract is between Aperture and the Commonwealth?
I do not.
Have you ever had any discussions with any colleagues from Aperture with regard to how much Aperture has been paid in this case?
No, I have not.
Do you have an estimation as to how much Aperture has been paid in this case?
Not off the top of my head, I do not.
You've never had any discussion with anybody at Aperture about the fees Aperture has charged the Commonwealth in this case?
No, I have not.
Who in Aperture is in charge of knowing how much fees Aperture has charged the Commonwealth?
Just go ahead and throw somebody else under the bus, sir. It would totally be in line with how you're going here on the moral high ground.
That would be the accounting department,
Would Dr. Judson Welcher know?
potentially.
Your analysis, I want to move on to another category, sir. Your analysis in this case was not strictly limited to data in science, was it?
No, it was strictly limited to data and science.
The Commonwealth requested that you review numerous materials in connection with your analysis in this case, correct?
I did review materials, yes.
Okay, how many of you live in Massachusetts and are ready to get a refund request form? Because damn.
You did not review the January 29, 2022 CARS report by, well, let me put it this way. Did you review the January 29, 2022 CARS report prepared by Trooper Paul?
No, I did not.
Do you know what a CARS report is?
I do not.
Do you know that a CARS report was prepared by Trooper Paul for this case?
No, I do not.
If there was a collision analysis and reconstruction report prepared by a trooper in that case, would you want to see a document such as that?
No, not for my analysis.
Would somebody at Aperture want to see that document?
Objection.
I'll reword.
Yes, please reword that. I want that
Are you
answer.
familiar with collision analysis and reconstruction reports prepared by law enforcement agencies?
I am vaguely familiar, yes.
Vaguely familiar? Have you ever used one in your analysis at all?
I have seen them, yes.
You've seen them. And my question is, seeing them, have you ever read any of them?
Yes, I have read them, yes.
Have you ever considered a collision analysis and reconstruction report as part of the work that you do at Aperture?
Not specifically a collision analysis report from law enforcement. We do routinely see crash reports, but I think what you're referring to is something else.
Are you aware of a supplemental collision analysis and reconstruction report of Trooper Paul of the Massachusetts State Police dated July 24, 2024?
No, I'm not.
Do you know whether Trooper Paul is part of the Massachusetts State Police reconstruction team?
I do not.
And lastly, do you know whether he's part of the reconstruction team in this case?
I do not.
Thank you, Lucy.
Did anybody tell you to avoid reviewing a collision analysis and reconstruction report in this case?
No, they did not.
You did, however, review the 2024 testimony of Trooper Nicholas Garino in the proceeding of last year, didn't you?
I did for specific data, yes.
So that's not really science and data, is it? It's testimony.
Yes, it is testimony.
So you did review materials in this case beyond science and data, correct? You reviewed testimony.
Sure, that is common, yes.
Having reviewed Trooper Garino's testimony, you therefore are aware of the theory that he proposed in the first proceeding, correct? It was in his testimony?
Objection.
I'll allow that.
I'm not. So specifically, I reviewed Trooper Garino's testimony for information related to the infotainment and telematics modules.
So did you read all of the testimony?
No, I would have skimmed it.
Forgive us if we don't believe you.
You would have skimmed the testimony?
Correct.
And how would you, and what would be the purpose to just skim it?
Sure. So I'm only interested in the information related to the infotainment and telematics modules.
Bullshit.
So you just, I want to make sure I have this right. So you would skim it, you would look for what you want to focus on, and you, as you sit here today,
Am I
you don't
kidding?
have
Yes,
any
thank you.
recollection of what the theory of the Commonwealth was in the first proceeding?
Not from that testimony, no.
Do you recall?
Is anybody getting an echo? If you are, I don't know how to fix it because I don't have one. Try closing and reopening.
Trooper Garino as part of what you reviewed. So you reviewed certain things of Trooper Garino in his testimony, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
And in your direct testimony, you testified extensively about the iPhone of John O'Keefe, correct?
Correct.
And you looked at and testified about a lot of information from the phone of John O'Keefe. Is that a fair statement?
Location data.
Location data. Did you read, therefore, Trooper Garino's claim that the last...
Objection.
So why don't I see it side by side?
I think it was the word claim.
Sure.
I think it was the word claim that he objected on. Sidebar. Is this how we end the day? I know, Nella. I can't believe it either. The audacity. Don't forget to use your sidebar sticker, guys. Come on, baby. Maybe she called this, maybe the sidebar is because they're going to throw the case out. I mean, there's a first for everything, right? Thank you for the follows, guys. By the way, if you follow me on that side, make sure you follow this side because I don't always bring my backup live with me when I go live. Why aren't they all up there at that sidebar? Good point.
Mr. Alessi, is there anything we can go to and come back? If there's not, there's not.
It would be a bit incongruous, Your Honor, but I
Okay.
can do it if Your Honor would like.
Do we have any idea how much longer it's going to be?
I will go check.
They noticed that too, right? The jury in the courtroom. We're the virtual one, but in the courtroom, you know they noticed that, right? She asked how long it was going to be for them to get a document.
Thank you very much, Ms. Pardon me?
It's the second time.
Heaven
approach, Your
forbid they
Honor?
do their
Yes.
job.
I will show this to Mr. Brennan first, and then if the court would like to see it, we've got another.
But that's, thank you.
Mr. Brennan?
I have no idea. But you forgot to spell it with an S. House long. Too. Yeah.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. May I have this marked as the next exhibit for identification, please, John?
Yes.
No
At
worries.
this point, the prosecution even crossing seems like a bad move. I would say no questions. Don't dig yourself even deeper. We already know what you did.
Yep.
Don't try to make it worse.
May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank
You should learn your lesson in
Sir, I'm
this.
handing you what has been marked as Exhibit ZZ for identification. Ask you to take a moment to look at it, please. When you've had a fair opportunity to look at it, if you could pick your head up, sir, and I'll proceed that time.
You know how frustrated we're getting seeing this? Imagine being those lawyers.
Okay.
So I'm going to just
Shannon
ask one predicate
Burgess.
question and then ask you another question.
Sure.
Does Exhibit ZZ contain, and if you just answer this yes or no, that would be great. Does it contain location data information?
Objection.
I'll allow that without pursuing
That's
it.
the only one I have for that purpose.
Okay.
Does it, sir?
Yes, it does.
Did you consider this part of Trooper Garino's testimony in any review that you've done in this case?
No, I did not.
We're just supposed to take your word for
Thank you,
it?
sir.
Yep.
Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. Shame. No, fool me once, shame on. No, wait.
On
Twice
December,
a shame
we're
on
going to
me.
move on now to another topic, sir. On December 5th, 2024, Detective Lieutenant Brian Tully, you know that name, sir?
Yes, I do.
How do you know that name?
So he is the one who hand delivered the infotainment and telematics module to our office in South Lake.
Exactly. So he delivered the infotainment module containing the SD card that you talked about on direct examination so that you could attempt to reinstall it in Miss Reed's vehicle for an in-vehicle acquisition attempt, correct?
Hold the hell on, sir. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you said that you figured that out on your own when you were just having a look at it. Now somebody brought you the SD card?
That was part of it, yes.
That was part of it.
Correct.
That day, you initially attempted an in-vehicle acquisition, meaning you reconnected the infotainment module to the faceplate in Miss Reed's vehicle and reinstalled both the infotainment and the telematics module for an in-vehicle unlock and acquisition, correct?
That was an attempt, yes, on December 7th, for clarification.
And that was on December 7th.
Correct.
And that was December 7th of 2024.
Correct.
You conducted this same testing on an exemplar vehicle, and to be clear, exemplar was a vehicle that Aperture had purchased.
Yes, that is a vehicle that Aperture has purchased.
So Aperture purchased it, and it's a vehicle, as I understand, you testified, that's similar to the vehicle of Miss Reed, correct?
Correct.
And so you call it an exemplar because it's similar to the vehicle in question, correct?
Correct. Correct.
So I'm going to continue using your parlance of exemplar vehicle.
Sure.
And so you conducted this same testing on the exemplar vehicle and successfully reinstalled and tested the infotainment and telematics systems for an in-vehicle unlock and acquisition, correct?
For an in-vehicle acquisition, not for an unlock.
Okay, so for just an in-vehicle acquisition.
Correct.
I appreciate the correction, sir. But in this case, with Miss Reed's actual Lexus, you were unable to successfully reinstall and test the infotainment and telematics systems, correct?
Correct.
On Miss Reed's Lexus, you were able to get the infotainment backlight and faceplate to illuminate, but in your own words, the infotainment system did not respond as expected, correct?
Correct.
So instead, you took the micro SD card itself and attempted to retrieve data from that card directly, correct?
Correct.
No, they're not hungry. I fed them.
Lexus locks cards in its system, correct?
It does, yes.
If Lexus thought it was appropriate to access those cards, do you know whether or not they would have them unlocked? You know.
I do not know.
Now,
I'm
oh,
going to
sorry.
let the answers.
Thank you, Your Honor. I want to cover a basic question. Do you give any citation to any scientific literature where specifically what you did on this Lexus model is ever done before? Has it ever been done before, do you know?
No, not on this specific model, which is why we did the exemplar testing.
Right, so there's no scientific literature that states that the methodology that you used with this Lexus model is an appropriate methodology at all, correct?
There is literature that addresses the methodology in other ways, but
Be careful, sir. I think you're about to admit to plagiarizing. This is the state of Massachusetts versus Karen Reed. She's on trial for the murder of her boyfriend, John O'Keefe, who was a police officer in Massachusetts.
not specific to this Lexus, correct?
There's no literature at all stating that the methodology that you used for this Lexus is the appropriate methodology to use for this Lexus model, correct?
There's no literature about this appropriate Lexus model, correct?
Let's talk about your initial report of January 30th of 2025. You issued your initial analysis and report on January 30th, 2025, correct?
Correct.
Your report included a general timeline analysis. You used that phrase, timeline analysis, that you stated could impact, quote, event reconstruction. Do I have that right? Your January 30th, 2025 report does not discuss a collision, does it?
No, not in my report, no.
As a matter of fact, your January 30th, 2025 report doesn't even use the word collision, does it?
Correct, because I'm looking at data from the infotainment and telematics module.
But the report of January 30th, 2025 does not even contain the word collision in it, correct?
I believe it does in the background portion, which would be on page 2 or 3,
Background?
which would just be restating the, if you mind if I can look at my report?
Oh, please.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Nala, you know you already had them. I think I need to send her to Cat Treat Addiction Center.
No, so I apologize. The word that was used was incident.
Right.
Correct.
But you don't use the word collision at all in your January 30th, 2025 report.
That is correct.
I appreciate you checking that, sir.
So who told you to put that
Also,
there?
and please keep your report handy,
Sure.
your January 30th, 2025 report does not in any way detail the timing of what you now call a text stream event at all, correct?
No, it does not.
So in your January 30th, 2025 report, you refer to it as an incident, and in your May 8th report, you refer to it as a text stream event, correct?
That would be referring to two different things.
Right, but
I can't
did
make
you
this up.
use the Parlance text stream event at all in your January 30th, 2025 report?
No, I did not.
But you're using it now, correct?
Correct.
And we're talking about the same event, right?
Correct.
In fact, your analysis and conclusions were limited in your January 30th, 2025 report to generally identifying a clock skew between Mr. O'Keefe's phone and Miss Reed's infotainment system, correct?
That is correct.
On January 30th, 2025, you engaged in no further analysis to determine whether precisely the 1162.2 text stream event that you now call it occurred, correct?
Correct.
Why not?
I was not asked to at that time. I was just asked to look at the general timeline and consistency of the timestamps.
So, back in January 30th,
Ma'am.
2025, you were not asked to engage in analysis to determine when precisely the 1162.2 text stream event occurred. Is that fair?
That is fair, and that is based on the common concept that, a lot of cases that we work, there is clock skew, but we do not have events to precisely determine what that clock skew is.
Understood. So, wasn't your goal, however, on January 30th, 2025, to determine the correct timeline of events relative to this incident? Wasn't that your goal?
It was my goal to determine the data from the infotainment and telematics modules that were missed in the initial download and create a timeline and consistency of those timestamps.
So, your goal was to create a timeline, correct?
Correct.
And that timeline, among other uses, was to be for your colleague, Dr. Judson Welcher, to use that in his analysis, correct?
That is correct.
So you knew not only what your purpose was, but you knew what your work was going to be used for by Dr. Welcher, your colleague, correct?
Well, I knew it was going to be provided, yes.
Well, you knew it was going to be provided. Have you ever talked to Judson Welcher, your colleague, about this case at all?
I have vaguely, yes.
How many times have you talked to him?
I would count a handful of times.
And just give me a general idea of the nature of the discussions between you and Dr. Welcher. You're both working on the same, quote, incident, right?
Sure, yes.
What would have been the nature of those discussions?
So those discussions would have been identifying what I found on the infotainment and telematics modules and discussing, explaining that data to Dr. Welcher.
So
I'm not surprised,
did
Brandy.
Dr. Welcher ever tell you, your colleague, why he wanted to use that data for his purposes?
For reconstructing a timeline.
And for reconstructing a timeline and picking a time for what you now call a text stream event, correct? You knew that's what he was doing.
Correct, for a timeline, yes.
Right, so you knew that for the 1162.2 text stream event, he was going to use your analysis back in January of 2025 to try to pinpoint that text stream event 1162.2, correct?
That is correct.
You knew that.
Yes.
And you know that he used that data to select a specific range for that text stream 1162.2 text stream event, correct?
I don't know if select would be the right, I understand what you're saying, yes.
What term would you use?
Sure, so based on the data, he's identifying the time approximately when that event would have occurred.
I was
And
too.
that text stream event, that 1162.2, is what Aperture is contending is a time of a collision. Is that correct, to your knowledge?
That's sustained on that. Ask it differently, Mr. President.
Do you know the purpose of the 1162-2 text stream event in the analysis performed by your firm?
Have a good night,
No,
Sandra.
Dr. Welcher, I do not.
Thank you.
So you performed your analysis and all these timelines that you talked about on direct without knowing what Dr. Welcher was going to do with that data?
No, so sorry, I misspoke. So it would be to timeline the time and date, or to put a time and date with when that text stream trigger would have occurred.
Exactly.
Right.
So you knew what the purpose was of your work with regard to Dr. Welcher's work.
Correct.
And isn't Dr. Welcher's work on the 1162-1 and the 1162-2 text stream event an important aspect of the work of Aperture in this case?
Yes, it is.
Did anybody from the Commonwealth ask you in your January 30th, 2025 report to not discuss your work in connection with the text stream 1162-1 and the 1162-2 events?
No.
But you didn't discuss that, meaning the 1162-1 and 1162-2 events, in your first report in January 30th, did you?
That was not part of my report, correct?
But you did delve into that, and pretty heavily, in your May 8th report, correct?
Correct.
And you delved into that pretty heavily in the middle of this trial, correct?
Correct.
So after the trial, do you know the trial started around April 22nd in this case?
Yes,
Generally?
yes, generally.
So let's do the timeline on this. January 30th, 2025, you prepare your initial report, correct?
Correct.
In that initial report, you mentioned nothing about text stream event 1162-1, correct?
Correct.
In that report, you mentioned nothing about text stream event 1162-2, correct?
Correct.
It's my opinion he yells because he's very passionate about what he's doing. That's defending an innocent woman, in my opinion.
The trial starts April 22nd, correct?
Correct.
Russell.
Generally.
No, the trial in this case, this trial, about April 22nd, after the trial starts and after witnesses, of course, are appearing, you prepare another report, correct?
Correct.
And that's your May 8th report,
Correct.
right in the middle of this trial.
Correct.
Becky, stick around for about half an hour and then I'll give you the time to try to prove that.
And right in the middle of this trial, you enlarge the number for the 21 to 29 range. That's bigger than what was in your first report, correct?
No, that is not correct.
Well, you changed the number, don't you?
No, I did not change the number.
Well, let's go back to see exactly what you did, sir.
Sure.
No.
Let's start with the basics. You said on direct examination, sir, that you prepared your May 8th report on your own initiative. Those were your words on your direct testimony, correct?
Correct.
Even more reason that you shouldn't be sitting there saying she's guilty. Wait half an hour and then we can talk this out.
I'm going to read the first line of your May 8th, 2025 report.
Okay.
Do you have it in front of you, sir?
I do. Yes.
It
Thank you
starts,
for the
"Dear
follow."
Mr. Brennan." Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
"Pursuant to your request," that's a request you're referring to of Mr. Brennan, correct?
Correct.
"I have completed an additional analysis concerning the above referenced matter. To formulate opinions, the following additional items were reviewed." This wasn't done on your initiative. you put in writing you did it at the request of Mr. Brennan. Which is it?
So that was on my own initiative. This is a holdover, so a copy and paste from my original report.
You're explaining the May 8th report in your language pursuant to your request as a cut and paste from a previous report?
Yes, I am.
Do you cut and paste important information from one report to the other without checking it for accuracy?
I copy and paste certain portions.
Do you ever review what you cut and paste to see if it's accurate?
Yes.
You didn't review it this time though, did you, sir?
No, I did not think it was significant.
Oh, you don't think it's significant, sir, that the matter is in the middle of a trial and there's a request for a new report after testimony has occurred in that trial? You don't think that's important?
Objection.
Sustained.
Why did you prepare the new report then?
Sure. So there was a claim from a PowerPoint presentation by Mr. DeSogra of trying to adjust clock syncs or making clock adjustments based on the synchronization of certain events. That was produced in March. Upon reviewing that, my initial thoughts were to address that in testimony. But as I was preparing for trial, I made the decision that it needed to be better addressed in a supplemental report.
But you understand that the report that you're referring to, that's the report of Mr. Soger, correct?
It is a presentation of Mr. DeSogra.
It's
correct.
a presentation. You understand his presentation merely was responding to the work that you did, correct?
No, that's not correct.
So your belief is that Mr. DeSoger's report didn't address at all what you had done?
Partially, yes, but no.
Okay, but
Yes, but
let's
no.
cover the basics.
Yes,
You
but
would agree
no.
that Mr. DeSogra addressed, at least in part, the work that you had done.
He tried to address, yes.
Right. So do you know the date of Mr. DeSogra's report as March 5th?
No.
Does that sound right to you?
Yes, that's what I
So
said.
you had Mr. DeSogra's report that you claimed was the basis for you on your own in the middle of this trial, creating and submitting a new report. You claimed that the basis for that was Mr. DeSogra's report of March 5th of 2025.
That is correct.
You waited 2 months to do that?
Again, my initial thoughts were to address it on
My
testimony.
question is,
He waited 17 years to try to get his bachelor's degree. He still hasn't gotten there yet. So, I mean, is this
well,
stretch?
did you wait 2 months?
Just let him finish the answer.
My question, sir, finish it how you like.
Sure. So
2 months, was it 2 months between March 5th and when you submitted your report on May 8th? Was that 2 months?
yes, it is.
So, did you know when this trial was going to start, sir? Generally?
Yes.
Do you think it's fair to submit a report without anybody asking you in the middle of a trial?
Objection.
Sustained.
This is a lessee. At this point, I think he should have brought a lawyer with him to pull him out of this moment.
As we've been discussing, you issued a brand new report, in this case dated May 8th, 2025, correct?
Correct.
That changed your analysis, correct?
Nala.
No, it did not change my analysis.
Were there changes
Nala, it's the audacity for me too, but we try to hold it in, sister.
to your analysis in it?
There were clarifications.
Clarifications.
Correct.
Let's address that. In your January 30th, 2025 report, you did not mention TechStream event at all, did you?
No, I did not.
And you didn't mention collision at all, correct?
No, I did not.
And you mentioned both of those now in your May 8th, 2025 report, correct?
I don't know if I mentioned collision. I'd have to go to my report and look.
Then go
But
to
you
it.
certainly do mention tech stream events, correct?
Yes, that's
And you
correct.
labeled them 1162.1 and 1162.2, correct?
Correct.
That's a change from your first report, isn't it, sir?
No, it's not a change. It's a supplement.
Oh, so your definition is that when you add something to a report, it's not a change, it's a supplement?
That is what it is, yes.
Thank you, Kelly. Becky, are you
Who
still
did
in
you
here? I want to make
speak
sure you
to?
stayed.
Regarding the May 8th, 2025 report before you prepared it.
And no one before I prepared it.
So you just prepared it on your own.
I did.
Did you have any communications at all? I asked you who you spoke with, but did you have any communications at all with either Detective Lieutenant Tully or Buchanan?
So I did reach out to Tully to get a full set of the location data, yes.
So you reached out to Detective Tully before you prepared your May 8th report, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Did he tell you that the trial had
Come on
started
now.
in this case?
Just a little,
No, not during that conversation, no.
little longer, okay?
That's not the first communication you had with Detective Tully, was it?
No, it's not.
How many conversations have you had with Detective Tully?
I would say a handful.
How much
Tell me collusion without telling me collusion.
is a handful?
Yeah, I would be speculating,
Thank you
but
for the follow.
we'll say 5 to 10.
5 to 10.
Sure.
Is Detective Tully expert at all in digital forensics?
Neither is
No.
he.
But you've had 5 to 10 conversations with him.
Correct, to get provided information.
Information that you wouldn't use on your report, right, sir? Collusion, yeah, the words of the day.
At any time, has anybody from the Commonwealth had a discussion with you relative to your January 30th, 2025 report or your May 8th, 2025 report about keeping flexible the timelines for any events in this case?
No, sir.
Are you sure? I think you should be
Did
pretty
you
positive
have
about
any
this.
discussions at all regarding the May 8th, 2025 report you prepared in the middle of this trial with anyone from the district attorney's office?
Yes,
When did you have those discussions?
that would have been on, probably May 7th when I reached out to Mr. Brennan.
A handful is 5
So you reached out to Mr.
in my
Brennan
book.
on May 7th, 2025, correct?
Correct.
That's before May 8th,
Thank you, Susan.
2025, correct?
Correct.
So before you sent that report in, you had a discussion with Mr. Brennan about it, am I correct?
Correct.
What was that discussion about?
That was just a discussion over the data and what the report said.
So you were discussing with Mr. Brennan what was going to be in your report, including data and analysis, correct?
Correct.
Did you tell Mr. Brennan that you were going to be submitting the report shortly to him on May 8th?
Yes.
Did you agree to a time when you would submit that report?
No, I did not.
Did you tell him when you were going to submit it?
No, I did not.
But after the conversation on May 7th, you discussed with him that you had either pretty close to finalize the report. It's a pretty extensive report, right?
Correct.
So on May 7th, you were pretty well along the way in that report, right?
Correct.
Did you let Mr. Brennan know that?
Yes.
So he knew the nature of the report. He knew how far along you were with it.
Correct.
YouTube.
Did you have any other calls with anybody from the prosecution's office other than that about your May 8th report?
No, I don't believe so.
Did you have any texts with anybody about your May 8th report?
No.
Did you communicate with anybody else about your upcoming May 8th report?
No, I would have provided a copy to Dr. Welcher.
Your colleague?
Correct.
So Dr. Welcher knew you were working on this report, correct?
He knew I submitted the report. I don't know if he knew I was working on the report.
Did he know you were going to submit the report before you submitted it?
Yes, I'm sorry, yes.
Did he know what was going to be in the report?
Yes, he did.
Did he support the fact that you were going to submit a report in the middle of trial?
I can't speak for Dr. Welcher.
But he knew you were going to do it.
Correct.
Did he say anything, don't do that? Or did he have any comment about the fact you were going to submit it?
Not that I recall off the top of my head.
Not that you recall, so is it possible he did comment on whether you should submit it in the middle of trial?
No, he would not have commented on whether I should have submitted it or not.
How many times in your career, sir, have you submitted a supplemental or amended report in the middle of trial?
This would be the only one that I recall.
So this is the only time. How many years have you been doing this?
Approximately 10 years.
And so approximately 10 years, this is the first time you've submitted a amended supplemental report in the middle of a trial.
A supplemental report, correct.
As you call it, a supplemental report in the middle of trial.
Correct.
I know you guys probably can't see it, but the top of his head's getting red now too. Secondhand palpitations for real.
Do you know a person by the name of Ian Whiffen?
Yes, I'm familiar with the name.
Even up here.
You say you're familiar with the name. Are you more than familiar with his name? Are you familiar with his work?
I'm familiar with his report in this case, yes.
So you're familiar with his work if you're familiar with his report, correct?
Correct.
Were you given do you know that Mr. Whiffen has testified in this trial?
No, I do not.
Bullshit.
And with regard to
Sorry.
Mr. Whiffen's report, did you read it?
Yes, I did read his report.
And that would be of interest to you, correct? That's why you read it?
Correct.
Because Mr. Whiffen's report, and are we talking about Mr. Whiffen's January 2025 report or his March 2025 report? Are you aware there's two of them?
No, I'm not.
Do you know which one you're referring to?
That would be the January report.
So the January 2025 report, are you aware that there's just a couple minor differences between the two reports, or you're just not aware?
I'm not aware of either way.
You can't see it very well.
Assume there's very minor differences with the reports.
I'd black out too. I'm not
Mr.
gonna lie.
Whiffen's reports contain information and some detailed, and they're long reports, right?
Yes, they are.
So Mr. Whiffen's report contains information about the cell phone of Mr. O'Keefe, correct?
Correct.
It contains information about the location data in Mr. O'Keefe's phone, right?
Correct.
It contains information about the phone calls in Mr. O'Keefe's report, correct?
Correct.
It contains information about the temperature of the battery in the iPhone of Mr. O'Keefe, right?
Correct.
It has some timelines in that report, correct?
Correct.
And that
You see it
those
now?
timelines have very specific events that are represented in the data from Mr. O'Keefe's cell phone, correct?
Correct.
As a matter of fact, it's
YouTube
got
channel.
location data and times that you have used in your report and PowerPoint presentation here, correct?
Correct.
When did you receive the report of Mr. Whiffen with regard to the cell phone of Mr. O'Keefe?
So I would have received his report sometime in January.
So
It's getting
4 months
worse.
ago, you had the report of Mr. Whiffen with substantial information about the types of databases you can find in the iPhone, location data,
All the
health
way up there.
data, phone calls, and a timeline, among other information, correct?
Correct.
You had all that information.
Correct.
And you had GPS location data in that report regarding Mr. O'Keefe's iPhone, correct?
Correct.
You know what an SQLite
This whole area.
database is.
SQLite? Yes.
SQLite, yes.
Yes.
And an SQLite database is one of the many databases that are contained within an iPhone, including Mr. O'Keefe's iPhone, correct?
Correct.
And you testified on your direct that you have general knowledge about cell phones, correct?
Correct.
And you say you've got certifications with regard to cell phones, correct?
Correct.
And your certifications include being able to read Celebrite and apply the Celebrite tool, correct?
Correct.
And you have certifications that allow you to apply and utilize magnet forensics, like, for example, their Axiom program, correct?
Correct.
And you've done that in your career. You've applied those tools before this case, correct?
Correct.
And you've applied those tools after you worked in this case. You apply them pretty much frequently, correct?
Correct.
So
I'm
the
starting to worry
tools,
about this
the
guy.
databases in an iPhone, and all the
Thank you.
location data, etc., that was all information you had and you knew and had facile with back in January of 2025, correct?
Correct.
And you had access to the SQLite database because you had Mr. Whiffen's report, correct?
Correct. I had the report. Yes.
You had the report. Do you recall on your direct testimony saying that one of the reasons that you did this supplemental report on May 8th
Thank you.
was you got new information or more information about Mr. O'Keefe's cell phone?
Yes. Correct.
How did you
You
get it,
had
sir?
that information through Mr. Whiffen's report back in January of 2025, didn't you, sir?
Correct. I had the report. I did not have the data.
Well, didn't Mr. Whiffen's report discuss location and in a pretty detailed manner?
Yes, it did.
And didn't he use GPS location data in that report?
Yes, he did.
And you had that in January 4 months ago, correct?
Correct.
And you read it 4 months ago.
Correct.
Yet you still submitted a report on May 8th in the middle of this trial, correct?
Correct.
Are you familiar with a digital forensic analyst named Jessica Hyde?
I am familiar with the name. Yes.
Us
You know
too.
she's working on this case on behalf of the Commonwealth.
We
Yes,
know.
I think I have heard that in conversations.
We
Have you
know.
read any of her reports?
No, I have not.
So you're aware she's working on the case, but you're not aware of whether she's issued reports in this case.
Correct.
So you're not aware whether she has issued reports that mention about GPS location data, correct?
Correct.
Did you ever ask for her reports?
No, I did not.
Did you really plagiarize as well as perjurize? See what I did there?
Did anybody ever tell you or comment to you whether your analysis is consistent or inconsistent with the reports of Mr. Whiffen or Ms. Hyde?
No.
Did you watch their testimony in this trial?
No, I did not.
Did you learn of their testimony in this trial?
No, I did not.
Jesus is watching.
Did anyone from law enforcement or any other aspect of the Commonwealth provide you with any summary of their testimony?
No, they did not.
But you had access to Mr. Whiffen's report with regard to his analysis and the data from Mr. O'Keefe's cell phone back in January of 2025, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Having read
Dr. Jen.
Mr. Whiffin's January 2025 report, you know that his report contains statements about movement and other activity of Mr. O'Keefe's phone after your time period in your original report of January 30th, 2025, correct?
No, not after the time period, no.
Let's take a look at that.
Sure.
He's getting even redder. Say you lie without telling me you lie.
Let's take a look
Your face
at your January 30th, 2025 report.
I'm starting to wonder if he's going to pass out. I think that ship has sailed, and I think he did.
Well, we'll come back to that. I'll do that in an order that makes a little bit more logical sense.
I don't know that it's logical for him.
You've mentioned, and just to cover the foundational parts, that you're not the only employee of Aperture that's been hired to testify as a witness on behalf of the Commonwealth in this trial, correct?
Correct.
Your colleague, Judson Welcher, Dr. Judson Welcher, has also been retained by the Commonwealth through Aperture, correct?
That is correct.
Justin Welcher, Dr. Welcher is a biomechanical engineer, correct?
Correct.
Do you know whether Dr. Welcher holds any professional certifications?
I do not know.
Did he get his degree?
Does Dr. Welcher's expertise extend beyond your own?
It is a different discipline than my own, yes.
So it's a different discipline. So
Is he
it could
for
be
real?
horizontally extended, and it also can be vertically extended depending upon the subject matter.
Sure.
That's a fair statement.
Sure.
Your colleague, Dr. Welcher, who is an engineer, did opine on the timing of the TechStream event 1162-2 in his report of January 30th, 2025, correct?
Objection.
The objection sustained.
I'll reword it, Your Honor. Do you know whether Dr. Welcher opined on the timing of TechStream event 1162-2 in his January 30th, 2025 report?
Yes.
So you do know.
Yes.
What is the timing of the TechStream event 1162-2 in the January 30th report of Dr. Welcher, your colleague?
Objection.
So why don't I see you at sidebar on this?
Hold on, I gotta play that back.
Patience.
I do not know.
Does Dr. Welcher's expertise extend beyond your own?
It is a different discipline than my own, yes.
So it's a different discipline. So it could be horizontally extended, and it also can be vertically extended depending upon the subject matter.
Sure.
That's a fair statement.
Sure.
Your colleague, Dr. Welcher, who is an engineer, did opine on the timing of the TechStream event 1162-2 in his report of January 30th, 2025, correct?
Objection.
The objection sustained.
I'll reword it, Your Honor. Do you know whether
He does.
Dr. Welcher opined on the timing of TechStream event 1162-2 in his January 30th, 2025 report?
Yes.
So you do know.
Yes.
What is the timing of the TechStream event 1162-2 in the January 30th report of Dr. Welcher, your colleague?
Objection.
So why don't I see you at sidebar on this?
I think that speaks for itself.
Slides that are included in Mr. DeSogra's.
It's starting to feel like he's stolen all their work and just. I think he stole his work. Perjury, plagiarism, they sound most alike, right? Maybe
May I
Leslie
proceed,
will
Your
tell
Honor?
us.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for your patience, Mr. Burgess. You're aware that Dr. Welcher created a PowerPoint presentation with regard to his work in January of 2025, correct?
Correct.
Did you ever discuss that work with Dr. Welcher that he was doing?
No, I did not.
Did you ever review any
They can
of
ask.
his work at any point, including up to the point where you're sitting on the stand today?
I have reviewed the slides that are included in Mr. DeSogra's presentation.
Okay. In the slides that are included in Mr. DeSogra's report include, those slides you're referring to are the slides of Dr. Welcher, your colleague, correct?
Correct.
And the slides that are in Mr. DeSogra's report about Dr. Welcher that slide discusses the 1162.2 text stream event, correct?
Correct.
So you have looked at, albeit through Mr. DeSogra, you have looked at the slide that Dr. Welcher had in his report regarding the text stream event 1162.2, correct?
Correct.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Welcome. May I have this marked as
You can't
an
have both
exhibit for
of them.
identification, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. Good court report.
Sharing is caring.
AAA for identification.
Thank you. May I present it to the witness?
Yes.
Thank you. May I remain here for a few questions?
Sure.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Burgess, if
Yes.
you could take a look at what has been marked for identification is AAA, and tell me, once you've had a fair opportunity to look at it, whether you recognize that slide.
Yes, I do recognize that slide.
And sir, what do you recognize that slide as?
So it is a slide that states a number of times associated with text stream event 1162.2, which would be the second event.
And did you consider this exhibit AAA in your preparation of a response to Mr. DeSogra's March 5th, 2025 presentation?
Yes, I did.
I offer this into evidence, Your Honor, AAA for identification.
Okay.
I'd like to put the whole report in.
Your Honor, I have no need to put the report's 143 pages.
So I'm going to let this in, and I haven't decided yet about the whole 143 pages. Okay?
Fair enough, Your Honor. And I re-offer it into evidence, Your Honor.
Yes.
Exhibit 188.
Could someone provide me with that 143 page today, please?
Sorry, what you're asking for?
We can,
For a copy for me of that 143 pages before we leave today.
before we leave, we'll get it, Your Honor.
That'll be why they
Where-
end the day like this, because they don't have that report back.
Yes.
You can, please.
Hold on, was it marked?
It's 188.
What number?
188.
Thank you.
May I present it back to the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you.
He's clenching his teeth now a lot.
Sir, you now have what is in evidence as Exhibit 188 for identification. I draw your attention, and this is the slide that you considered in responding to Mr. DeSogra, correct?
In response to Mr. DeSogra's analysis of this slide, yes, correct.
And this slide, to be clear, is a slide prepared by your colleague at Aperture, Dr. Judson Welcher, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Sir, could you please read the time that Dr. Welcher states for the for when infotainment trigger 1162.2 occurred?
So that would be text stream trigger, just for clarification, but yes, I can.
Well, let's go to that. You use the parlance text stream trigger. Dr. Welcher uses infotainment trigger, but it's 1162.2. You both use 1162.2, correct?
Correct, and I think that may be a misunderstanding of how he's worded it.
Well, Your Honor, I'd actually move to strike that about what Dr. Welcher, I'm just going to what the document says.
I'm just going to leave it, but go on.
Thank you, Your Honor. So the document says that the infotainment trigger 1162.2 occurred at approximately 12:31:38, correct?
Correct.
And that it ended at 12:31:43, correct?
Correct.
So we've got the trigger, according to Dr. Welcher, as of recently as January 30th, 2025, starting at 12:31:38 and ending at 12:31:43, correct?
Correct, according to the Lexus clock.
Right.
Yes.
So now let's go down to what says below. Per report from Ian Whiffen, O'Keefe's cell phone data showed, quote, most notably, all device lock events, including the final lock event at 12:32:09, were user initiated by the user pressing the side button briefly. You see that, sir?
I do.
And did I read that correctly?
You did, with the caveat, that's according to the iPhone clock.
Right, but in any event, that's what Dr. Welcher states on his slide, correct?
Correct.
Do you know, sir, that the iPhone data reported by Mr. Whiffen that you read, that Dr. Welcher references, do you know that report of Ian Whiffen says there was an end of a health event of 36 steps covering a distance of 84 feet that ended at 12:32:16, which is after 12:31:43?
Yes.
And you know that.
Yes, with the caveat, those clocks have not been adjusted.
For the love
But
of
you
God.
know that there was a end of health event of 36 steps covering a distance of 84 feet that ended at 12:32:16, which is after 12:31:43, correct?
Correct.
Just stating the comparison. So now what I'd like to do is to move on with regard to
Love the way he
the
talks
analysis. So
Yeah, guys,
And-
no
and-
spamming the chat.
Dr. Welcher wrote that.
I have no idea why that just happened, but I can put us right back. Don't worry.
2 occurred.
So that would be text stream trigger, just for clarification, but yes, I can.
Well, let's go to that. You use the parlance text stream trigger. Dr. Welcher uses infotainment trigger, but it's 1162.2. You both use 1162.2, correct?
Correct, and I think that may be a misunderstanding of how he's worded it.
Well, Your Honor, I'd actually move to strike that about what Dr. Welcher, I'm just going to
That's
what
a
the
good
document says.
I'm just going to leave it, but go on.
Thank you, Your Honor. So the document says that the infotainment trigger 1162.2 occurred at approximately 12:31:38, correct?
Correct.
And that it ended at 12:31:43, correct?
Correct.
So we've got the trigger, according to Dr. Welcher, as of recently as January 30th, 2025, starting at 12:31:38 and ending at 12:31:43, correct?
Correct. According to the Lexus clock.
Right.
Yes.
So now let's go down to what says below. Per report from Ian Whiffen, O'Keefe's cell phone data showed, quote, most notably, all device lock events, including the final lock event at 12:32:09, were user initiated by the user pressing the side button briefly. You see that, sir?
I do.
And did I read that correctly?
You did, with the caveat, that's according to the iPhone clock.
Right, but in
I
any
would've
event,
seen
that's
too.
what Dr. Welcher states on his slide, correct?
Correct.
Do you know, sir, that the iPhone data reported by Mr. Whiffen that you read, that Dr. Welcher references, do you know that report of Ian Whiffen says there was an end of a health event of 36 steps covering a distance of 84 feet that ended at 12:32:16, which is after 12:31:43?
Yes.
And you know that.
Yes, with the caveat, those clocks have not been adjusted.
But you know that there was a end of health event of 36 steps covering a distance of 84 feet that ended at 12:32:16, which is after 12:31:43, correct?
Correct.
Just stating the comparison. So now what I'd like to do is to move on with
I
regard
love that
to
part.
the analysis. So, and Dr. Welcher wrote this, the slide he presented, it's dated January 30th of 2025, correct?
It's not dated here.
It's not dated, but
yes.
do you know that Dr. Welcher
Flex.
created a report of January 30th, 2025?
I do know he created a report.
Right,
Correct.
and that's the same date as your report, correct? Your
Correct.
first report.
Correct.
So you both
Catnip, you really missed a lot. A lot.
submitted your reports on the same date. They're both dated the same at least, correct?
Yes, if they're both dated the same, yes.
Yes. Are you familiar with the concept of pocket state in iPhones?
I am familiar through Mr. Whiffen's report.
I agree.
Okay. You said you've read Mr. Whiffen's report, correct?
Correct.
So you know that Mr. Whiffen states that there was a pocket state detected on the iPhone of Mr. O'Keefe at 12:33:14, correct?
Objection.
So the same, I'm gonna strike it, do it the same way, Mr. Alessi,
I
okay?
will, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay.
Are you aware of
This is a
whether
lesson.
Mr. Whiffen has put in the report you read a timestamp for detecting pocket states of Mr. O'Keefe? Are you aware of that in the report at all?
I am aware of that in the report, yes.
Do you know when Mr. Whiffen has noted a pocket state detected of Mr. O'Keefe's phone? Do you know?
So, Mr. Alessi, why don't you show it to me?
That's what I was going to do. I will, Your Honor. And if we could put it up, we've got it, that's already in evidence on the screen.
Okay.
It's already in evidence in
So are
screen.
you talking about Mr. Whiffen's report, or you?
Correct, well, you know what? I'm going to show him the report, Your Honor. I'll do it the way you suggest.
We just got reported. The behavior is not in line with our policies and may result from a gifting suspension. I don't know if TikTok, I don't know if you're not paying attention or not, but I haven't asked for a damn thing.
Sir, do you recall the specific time that Mr. Whiffen has stated pocket states detected for the phone of Mr. O'Keefe?
No, I have not.
If I showed you a report of Mr. Whiffen, might that refresh your recollection as to when Mr. Whiffen has stated pocket state detected? Would that
Yeah.
help? you?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
sir, I'm going to endeavor to do that.
It's not going to help you. It's digging you deeper, and you're allowing it to. Self-sabotage much?
If I could have a moment, Your Honor, I have it.
Yes.
Thank you. Excuse me.
Good night, Parker. See you tomorrow. Enjoy dinner. Thank you for the follows, guys. I
I have it,
appreciate
Your Honor,
it.
if you have a moment.
If you guys followed on that one, make sure you follow on this one because that's just my backup. It doesn't always come live with me. I don't know, Jamie. I have a lot of questions for Bev. Thank you, Kaz. How are you? I know, right? I'd be a runner, I'd be a track star, 100%. But let's be honest, we wouldn't put ourselves in this situation.
Kevin, I'm just going to go to the page so we can do this.
I need my sunlight. I would like to know where these people think that they could have the audacity to pull this stuff and think that the jury's gonna fall for it, because we see you. We see you. Bev is losing her patience. Let's see. Glad to have you. We've had a few trolls trying to say the opposite, but on whose mouth? Not here. Not on these streets. I would even put up street signs to warn people this is not your average street area. Mm-mm. Oh, that's how they type. They type by voice now. She's literally saying everything that they're saying, repeating it back. I cannot, my fiber fog is blocking the term. Could somebody save me? What is the name of the thing she has? I am glad you're here. I cannot remember the name of that. Deep right into.
Got an agreement of sorts with Mr. Brennan. Could I proceed, Your Honor?
Thank you,
Yes.
Mel.
Thank you.
That's a stenographer.
Mr. Burgess,
Yes.
I'm going to show you what are 2 pages out of the report of Mr. Whiffen that you referenced, and we've been discussing about pocket state.
Sure.
And
Yes, Mama.
this one here, if you just read this line, because it's the heading, and then the next page, and tell me, sir, with reference to this entry right here, if that refreshes your recollection with regard to a column of pocket state with regard to the phone of Mr. and whether it refreshes your recollection on any comments Mr. Whiffen made about pocket state.
Objection.
I'm gonna see it sidebar for 2 minutes on this.
Okay.
Why is your son so helpful? What happened? I'm gonna make a clip of all these bomb drops in court. Oh, look at the smile there. Those guys are happy. Don't worry, we practice. Never mind, that's gonna be the end of the day. I'm just gonna leave it on for a few seconds here, but oh my God. I cannot with them. I think it was just a mask. I don't think she honestly was trying to smile at anybody. I think she's kind of like, shit, let's just get this over with. I don't know. Sometimes I smile when I'm secretly crying inside. I'm just kidding. I'm a cringe smiler. I'm a cringe smiler. I don't know how they picked this witness. He clearly did not check this guy, verify anything with him. But here, let me ask you a
Judges,
question.
this seems like a good place to break for the day. We thought maybe we'd get a few more minutes, but I understand the end for the day. So, those same cautions, please do not discuss this.
We get to see this guy again tomorrow. And what I mean is you're making us see him again tomorrow? Yeah, I'm a nervous smiler too. What the hell?
This case with anyone, don't do any independent research or investigation into this case. If you happen to see, hear, or read anything about this case, please disregard it, let us know, and please be careful with your social media use. We will see you tomorrow night. Thank you very much.
All right. Follow me.
What's deep fried?
We'll see you.
Okay, we need to take a vote. Who thinks this guy's gonna show up tomorrow? Let me put a poll up. If you think he's gonna show up tomorrow, smile face, tap the smile face. If you think he's not tomorrow, tap the cry face. He doesn't show up is the cry face. Just tap it. Now you guys do understand that when you're subpoenaed, you kind of have to show up. Is he a runner? Is he a track star? Again, that's in my head.
Jury's left the room. You can see it.
All right. So are we all set, Mr. Alessi, on this issue and for each time that might occur?
No.
Understood, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, so we'll see you tomorrow.
So, would you guys run? Not that we put ourselves in this kind of a position, but damn. You guys gotta remember, every single day this happens. We sit here every single day that there's court. We sit here and we say there's possibly nothing that could go over this. There's nothing that could top this. And then what happens? The next day, something even bigger happens. And you know what? This is all at play because Brennan decided to change the timeline. I bet you're kicking yourself now. Or is that what you want, Mr. Brennan? Do you want this to be a mistrial? So she could be tried again? I can't with this guy. So for 17 years, he's been in the process of trying to get his bachelor's degree. 17 years. She had said that something about she doesn't want to have this tomorrow where they have to sidebar a lot. I don't know. That's the rumor. We have no way to verify that because he won't be able to tell anybody as there's a gag order, so he can't tell us. So it's just an assumption that someone had pointed out earlier. I'm starting to wonder if that's an actual probable cause thing here. In my opinion, he should get fired for his job. And not that I wish anything like that on somebody, but how many cases has this man touched? Now you can't tell me that these cases don't need to be looked into. Now, just to make it abundantly clear, this is an uncomfortable position because I've never seen this in a court of law. I have never seen this, our judicial system like this, never. So people want to know why we're all so obsessed with Karen Read? Because of this. Because this is justice in Massachusetts. No, it's not supposed to be anywhere. If they could do this to Karen Read, they could do it to any of us. Okay, Becky, are you here? Yes, I was going to call on her. 100% I was. She wanted to... Now's the time, Becky. Where are you at? Becky. Do you have any idea how hard it's been for me to hold this in until now? Really hard. Exactly. And they're not, my understanding is they're not getting paid this time around. If this was any of us, could we be this lucky? I don't think so. That's what's scary. Okay, Becky, you clearly didn't stay around. No backbone. Got it. Okay. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. They should be fired. I don't even know what to say at this point. No idea. Hold on, I got something else for you guys. This is a surprise though. Hold on.
Right. Mr. Brooks, do you have a 13th subpoena? As we discussed yesterday, you wanted to call 13 witnesses. I told you you had until this morning to fill out another subpoena and give it to the state so that they could review it.
Yes, I do.
All right, can you hand that to the bailiff, please? I'll just take a look at it quick. Mr. Brooks, I'm reviewing this for completeness, and you have simply put on here, State of Wisconsin plaintiff, that's an entity. You have to name a person, sir.
This was posted with the date of
the
May
date
18th, 2025. Is he still doing this? Or did they repost it and just get the date wrong?
So I'll have it shown to the state, and they can let me know their position on that.
Any legal basis why that would not be accepted, Your Honor?
I'm
You
wondering
have
if
to
this is
have a
old.
person named, sir, so that they can come and testify. You only have an entity named.
Is it not true that under the Sixth Amendment I have the right to face my accuser?
Mr. Brooks, let me hear from the state.
I thought so too.
Yes, Your Honor, I agree with the court's.
Nope. They just reposted it with today's date. No surprise. No surprise at all. I lied without knowing I was. They reposted it because she's there, he's there, same suit. No, this can't be new. But he is representing himself on his appeal, just so you guys know. And he's no longer in Wisconsin either. Nebraska? I believe, no. I think it's North Dakota. The fact is he's long gone. He's in a different prison somewhere else. But he's representing himself on his appeal. You know, you got so many life sentences. What's the difference? All right, so really quick. FAA is investigating a 4th outage at Newark Airport in 3 weeks. Have a good night. See you soon. Thanks, Brandy. That trial was exhausting. Ooh. John O'Keefe's mom rolled her eyes in court at the defense's question. 11 Central Time is the time we start. We practice patience with parameters in here. Yeah, I'm going to use that every day. Linda Sturmer was sentenced to life in prison for her husband's 2007 murder. The California fertility clinic bombing left behind anti-pro-life writings. I completely agree. And then you had the Jacksonville airport that caught on fire. Yeah, this is crazy. Thank you, Lori. Let's see. Any update on, by the way, in case you guys didn't know, there's a lot of prisoners that are missing, and by a lot, I mean 7. They broke out of a New Orleans prison. They could be anywhere by now. But if you want to see their faces, it's on my Facebook, in our Facebook group, and on my TikTok. So they're both there. Look at all these faces. Do not approach them. Let's see what else we got. I'm just making sure we didn't miss anything important. It means that they're not pro-life. Yeah, I think we're good, guys. So, guys, have a good night. I'm gonna go take a nap. I cannot with this case. How the hell is this still going on? All right, I'm going. Have a good night, guys. I'll see you tomorrow at 11. Thank you. Bye.